Call to order. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 1046 et sec, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Star Ledger, a Nuevo Coquí, Haiti Progress, and Luz Americana newspapers, and by distribution to the administrative offices of the Newark Public Schools. A copy of the meeting notice was also forwarded to City Hall for posting. This is a regular reorganization meeting, Tuesday night, April 26, 2016. Please stand for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance, flag. Roll call. Ms. Baskerville-Richardson.
Present.
Ms. Carter.
Present.
Fonseca. Present. Mr. Hassan. Mr. Jackson.
Present.
Mr. Lewis.
Present.
Mr. Rashidi.
Present.
Mr. Sellinger.
Present.
Ms. Perello.
Present.
Quorum is present. We will now hear greetings from the principal. Do we have somebody representing Carver? Thanks.
She's here. She's here.
Good evening, Superintendent Cerf, members of the Advisory Board, in particular, newly elected members, and to all in attendance this evening, welcome. My name is Shana Burnett, and I am the principal at Dr. George Washington Carver Bruce Street School for the Deaf. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be in the company of educators, with people who share like dedication to the growth and to the well-being of our children and our community. We definitely are a special bunch in that even though the demands of our roles seem never-ending and the needs of our scholars and our schools are vast, we show up anyway. And we give it everything we have. At Carver, we also expect our students to give it everything they have and to be all that they possibly can. Our charge then is to inspire them to grow, to empower them to believe, and to inform them to know. And so these are our core aims of all of our school initiatives. And we did a lot this year. I'd like to share some of the work we're proud of at our school. So I'll continue on, and then the slides will come along with me. With regards to student development, our students participated in numerous character education programs, such as the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Student Training and the Picture Me Tomorrow program. As we understand that attitude and mindset to impact academic performance, the Picture Me Tomorrow program was all about beginning with the end in mind, where our scholars had the opportunity to dress up in their career aspirations. It was a great opportunity for them to visualize themselves in their future careers and hear motivational tasks from a number of professional role models in their community. And you'll see that once the Prezi comes up. We are also very pleased to have members of the Drifters organization to have our scholars participate in the Girls Who Grow program, focusing on building strong character and healthy identity among young women, as well as tending to the environment and beautification of our school. This year, we also placed great emphasis on several reading initiatives, such as Read Across America, and participated in the Dr. Seuss Day contest. We even created a student-friendly reading center to promote reading for pleasure. It allowed scholars leisurely reading time to receive additional support from ELA teachers to develop reading comprehension skills alongside their friends and in a lounge-type environment. Scholars also receive support through the Neighborhood and Community Center Initiative, the Buddy Reading Volunteering Program that reached 225 of our scholars who participated in this program. At the end, the scholars got a chance to meet the Promised Land Park Smart Book mascot, the huge kangaroo who you see in the picture, who gave each of our scholars an audio smart book. All this because we know reading is fundamental. For our Bruce Street scholars, we rolled out the Reading for Success, a tiered reading program that improved reading abilities by 2 or more levels among 68% of the hearing impaired scholars. I can't tell you what it means to see those scholars who were once non-readers becoming readers. Bruce Street also started a community living program to expose the hearing impaired middle school students to opportunities to build usable real-world life skills in this program. Students were hired for classroom jobs through an application and interview process. They received paychecks for their work at the end of each week for money they could use in the school learning store. Through this elaborate token economy system, students learned to manipulate money, budget, plan to spend wisely. They also gained a sense of autonomy and independence that directly transferred to their lives outside of school. We couldn't be more proud of our Bruce Street scholars. As part of the extended day, all students now have the opportunity to participate in a number of student advisories focusing on a range of experiences that emphasize developing the whole learner. Students are participating in soccer, dance, cooking, fashion, Legos, writing, science, just to name a few. I should also mention that our soccer advisory takes place on our newly gifted soccer fields. We also provide students with additional in-class support, such as drop-in counseling program. 2 highly trained educational consultants, Dr. Donnelly and Ms. Brown, push into classrooms to provide group and individual supports for struggling scholars, focus on increasing motivation, improving academic identity and esteem, as well as social emotional learning and behavior issues. Of course, there was tons more that went on with our scholars, but because of limited time, I want to turn briefly to staff development. With 80% of my staff being new to the building and 40% being first-year teachers, it provided an excellent opportunity to indoctrinate teachers with knowledgeable skills to compete and competently address student needs and effectively manage classrooms. Most of the staff participated in weekly staff development trainings, were partnered with peer coaches to develop lesson plans and to address strategies for classroom management and instruction. We have provided all staff with monthly workshops that range from various topics to creating emotionally supportive classrooms, achieving well-organized and engaging classrooms, and delivering quality and differentiated instruction. With regard to literacy instruction, we are pleased to have Dr. Esteno, a professor of English from Montclair State University, in partnership with Montclair State University Educational Renewal Program, provide writing workshops focusing on exploring the process, writing, and increasing our scholars' ability to write on demand. There also was a comprehensive workshop on Class Dojo, which was implemented. It was a school-wide behavioral management tool. In addition to classroom management, this program made it significantly easier for teachers to communicate with parents, as well as myself. And this was a free application that we downloaded. Teachers also received training on the use of integration of technology in the classrooms, and we even provided them with professional development website that they can interact and receive information. Lastly but not least, we gave great focus to increasing parent involvement, support, and skills. As we all know, student success is related to parental engagement in the academic process. Through our community engagement specialists, my open door policy, and the use of technology to communicate and engaging programs to address specific needs, we make great efforts to keep our parents actively involved in their children's academic process. We also created a page for our parents as a parent resource on our guidance page, gwcbssguidance.weebly.com. Our PTSA is up and running this year, and we have been actively putting out programming for parents and even have our own website, parentseducatingparents.weebly.com. So, as you can see, we've done a lot this year, and yet there is so much more to do. So with your continued support, we intend to keep raising the bar higher and higher. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you, Principal Burnett. Next item on the agenda, 5.0, is the recognition for the board members who served from 2013 to 2016. So we'll now go to those board members, and they'll also say their comments.
Thank you very much, Arson. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. In my case, and also Mr. Rashid, our last board meeting. Yet this meeting is bittersweet for me because, of course, I'm extremely sad, but I'm happy that we have newly elected board members that I know for a fact will do just right. I also want to now give the microphone to Mr. Rashidi to say a couple of words.
Thank you. 3 years ago, on this very stage, I took the oath to serve on the Board of Education in one of the world's greatest cities, Newark, New Jersey. To say it has been an honor and a privilege is an understatement. During my term, I have visited many schools and can honestly say the students in Newark public schools are some of the most dynamic students on the globe. My colleagues, Ariana, Rashan, and I came on the board together, having run on the same slate, and now we leave together with the hope that the district is closer to realizing self-determination than it was prior to our coming. While we did not always see eye to eye on every issue, meaning the board, we were in lockstep with wanting the very best for our students, a world-class education. To Ariana and Rashan, thank you for your service and your friendship. When we came on 3 years ago, there was some divisiveness with the traditional public versus public charter debate. Sadly, this debate is still being waged by some. To the new board members, Kim, Leah, and Tave, do not allow yourself to be distracted by this. Do all you can do to ensure the public schools are run well. This task alone will keep you more than busy. I commend you all for your willingness to enter this arena where you are subject to being second-guessed and denigrated, where your integrity might be called into question. But do not allow this to deter you from doing what is right for the students of Newark Public Schools. To my colleagues, Tony, Marquise, Phil, Donald, Dashay, and Crystal, continue to fight for our students, always keeping the children first. Local control is coming. It's been a pleasure serving with you. And to my Newark family, thank you for entrusting me with your most precious asset, your children. God bless you all, and I wish you peace.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rashidi. Any board members who would like to say a couple of words to Mr. Rashidi? Everybody see first? Okay. Next we have Mr. Rashan Hassan.
Thank you. Good evening, community members, fellow board colleagues. First and foremost, I'd just like to thank the members of the community for having faith in me and allowing me to serve you diligently for the past 3 years. I'd also like to thank my running mates, Ariana Perello and Khalil Rashidi. Throughout the last 3 years, it's really been a pleasure serving with you all and being able to support you with your initiatives. When I first decided to run for a seat on the school board, I just knew one thing, and that one thing was that I wanted to ensure that every child in the city of Newark had his fair share, his or her fair share, in their opportunity to receive a quality education. A lot of people don't know that I have an undying love for the Newark Public Schools District. And the reason that I have this undying love is because I was literally raised inside of 2 Cedar Street. My mother is a district employee. She's been serving the school district for over 20 years. And as a single mother, she often took me to work with her, where she worked overtime to pay her bills. So not only did I experience that struggle, but I also had an opportunity to experience many of the benefits of the Newark Public School system. When I go through our city, I see that there are many of our schools that are closed. There are now vacancies in communities. But I also see that our future is very bright. Now, I personally have a vision that the Newark Public Schools District can and will become the #1 school district for public education in the Northeast Corridor of America. Now, that only happens if we as adults continue to drive great collaboration and begin to treat our school district as an asset. We shouldn't be at board meetings fighting about this side or that side. The only thing that we should be fighting about or fighting for is for the futures of our children. I want the same thing for your children that I want for my young son. When I look in his face, I see a future leader of this city. And the only way he can do that is by receiving a quality education. And I pray that going forward, our newly elected board members continue to drive collaboration, work on solid partnerships, but more importantly, put aside self-interest and petty politics to do what's in the best interest of every child that lives in the city of Newark. It's been a great 3 years serving on this board. May God continue to bless the Newark Public Schools District and the great citizens of the city of Newark. Thank you again for allowing me to serve you all for the last 3 years.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan. Now I have a couple of words. I can't believe it's already been 3 years since being voted as a member for the Newark Board of Education. This journey has been challenging, exciting, and fulfilling all at the same time. It truly brings me joy to have served you, the students and families of Newark Public Schools. Since the first day I decided to run in 2010, I have had a strong desire to serve in the city. In 2012, I achieved board membership, then was elected in 2013 for a full term. And in 2014, I was voted by my colleagues as vice president. And then in 2015, I made history as the board first Latina board chair. As a mother of a student in Newark Public Schools, I have always made it my priority to support the students of the Newark Public Schools, taking an oath to work with parents and ensuring that their children receive the best education possible, no matter what their gender, nationality, or zip code. It is our responsibility as a board, and mine as the leader of the board, to fight to provide the best opportunities to Newark's most precious commodity, our children. I have always strived to give my best, whether it was pushing for a stronger board and district policies, advocating for a thorough curriculum that serves the need of every child, even campaigning for a fair budget, and giving a voice to non-English speaking families. I hope as residents you see that my heart is in the right place, and I know that I will never stop fighting for what is right. Today is the end of my mandate, and despite this ending, I reaffirm my commitment to continue working with my beloved community. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for your support. I want to thank Martha Jones, Valerie Wilson, Lizzie Gilbert, Arson Satarian, Charlotte Hitchcock, Superintendent Cerf, and the entire NPS staff. I would also like to show my utmost respect and appreciation to my mother, Maria Paulino, Pablo Fonseca, Maritza Falú, Council President Mildred Crump, Cesar Vizcaino, who believed in me when I first decided to run. Furthermore, I would like to extend my gratitude to our mayor, Mayor Raj Baraka, Mary Baraka Jr., former Councilwoman Bessie Walker, and the entire Children First Team family who embraced me as one of their own, who took me under their wing and never let me fall. Your loyalty, invaluable support, and never-ending commitment to the children of the city of Newark speak volumes, and I am forever grateful to have worked with all of you. I will never stop supporting the vision of the mayor and his administration. Together, we still have a lot of work to do. I am here to help you fulfill your vision. Lastly, I want to thank every single board member on this stage. I can truly say we are family. We disagreed, but at the very end, when we had to get together, we fought for what was right. Thank you for believing in my abilities and for helping me lift a strong Latino voice within the city. I leave you with my firm commitment to continue contributing my volunteer work, and whatever path I decide to take, I will continue to fight for all Newark residents, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, political beliefs, or religion. I will take up this fight with the same passion and love that I have for our students who need my support. I would also have the presence of mind and know that children and young people are the reason that I do what I do on behalf of this great city. I am very honored and grateful to have served the city, New Jersey's largest school district, which represents over 35,000 young people. As of today, the Newark Board of Education has been certified by the New Jersey School Board Association. I am extremely proud of our entire board. Thanks to former board president Rashan Hassan for initiating the process, and under my leadership, we finished the fight. I want to congratulate the newly elected board members, Kim Gaddy, Tay Padilla, and Leah Owens. This role is very hard. You will be pulled in many directions, but never give up. Stay the course. The children of Newark deserve that. Your role is to protect, defend, and be the voice of the 35,000 students in Newark Public Schools. I would always be here for you when need my assistance. And I end with this quote by Booker T. Washington. Success is to be measured not by so much the position that you have reached in life, as by the obstacles which he has overcome. Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you all.
Before we have presentations for our outgoing board members, do we have any board members that want to say anything before we do the presentation? Mrs. Jackson.
Good evening. There we go. Good evening. To my departing board colleagues, it's been an honor to work with you all for the past 2 school years. Sometimes we might not always agree on which avenue to go down to attack a problem, but at the end of the day, when it came down to the nitty-gritty and doing what was right for the district, we was always able to put our heads together and move forward. I'm sure this won't be the last time we will work together, maybe not in this venue, but I'm sure in other avenues and other organizations we'll definitely work together, and I'm looking forward to working with you all again.
Any other board members?
I
Ms.
do.
Fonseca.
Ariana, thank you so much again for everything, for all the work you did, for always being positive, and thanks for all the help and guidance throughout my time here with you. I truly appreciate it, and I'm here to support you on whatever other journey you decide to take, because I honor what you've done, and I know how to pay it forward, so thank you. Rashan and Mr. Khalil, thank you for your professionalism. That speaks volumes. it's been an example to me. It doesn't matter what we believe in at the end, right? But being able to work with you guys and just to see your professionalism at all times, it just impacted me tremendously. So I thank you for that, and I wish you guys the best, and I look forward to working with you. We ain't going nowhere.
Any other board members? All right, I just want to say before the presentation, to the three outgoing board members, I want to tell you it's been a privilege to work with all of you. Mr. Hassan, your leadership on this board is really shown. It is a reflection on what this board needs to go. I want to thank you for implementing the training for this board, motivating us to get trained. And now, because of your leadership, we're a certified Board of Education. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for helping us to get serious about leading this district to the next level. Mr. Rashidi, I want to thank you for your commitment. 3 years of your life you gave to the children of this city, and we really love you, and we thank you for that. Chairwoman Perello, you are not just my chairwoman, you are my friend, my best friend, my sister. I want to thank you for your leadership and believing in me when others didn't, trusting me with certain tasks when others wouldn't have done. I want to say thank you for your service. I know this is not the end for you. I know it's going to be a lot more for you. Ears have not heard, eyes have not seen, or have it entered in the heart of man what God is going to do through you. So I want to thank you, and we love you so much. Now, Mr. Superintendent, we're going to ask our board, our members, outgoing board members, to come up. Mr. Khalil Rashidi. We want to present this plaque to you on behalf of the district. We want to present on behalf of the district. We want to present this plaque to you. Thank you for your 3 years of service to our children in this district. Board Emeritus Rashad Hassan. And our board chairwoman, Ariana Perello.
Mic check.
My tremendous gratitude and admiration for the professionalism, the commitment, the integrity, the gift of their time and willingness to serve. It's a really beautiful thing, and the contribution that you have made to the children of this city is nothing short of noble, and I have personally appreciated every minute I've had a chance to work with you. So thank you so very, very much. Oh, we have a picture coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, next item on the agenda, item number 6, announcement of the official results of the annual school board election. I have the official results in my hand. There are 12 candidates. Votes were as follows. Sheila Montague, 2,576 votes. Tave Padilla, 5,892 votes. Tamara Moore, 1,775 votes. Thomas Ellis, 896 votes. Jimmy White, 452 votes. Leah Owens, 5,018 votes. Jody Pittman, 794 votes. Kim Gaddy, 5,909 votes. Juan Silva, 618 votes. Jason Dotson, 338 votes. George Tillman Jr., 505 votes. Carol A. Graves, 2,180 votes. Successful candidates were as follows. Kim Gaddy, Tave Padilla, and Leah Owens. Can I have the successful candidates to the left of the stage to my right for the swearing in, item number 7 on the agenda? Raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I, Kim Gaddy,
I, Kim Gaddy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey
of the State of New Jersey
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
and that I will bear true
and
faith,
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and also to the governments
and also to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I, Kim Gaddy,
I, Kim Gaddy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I possess
the qualifications
the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office
for the office
of a member of a Board of Education.
of a member of the Board of Education.
I am not disqualified as a voter,
I am not disqualified as a voter,
nor by conviction of crime
nor by conviction of crime
or offense,
or offense,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of that office
perform all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Ms. Owens? Just raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Leah Owens,
I, Leah Owens,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey
of the State of New Jersey
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and also
and also
to the governments
to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I, Leah Owens,
I, Leah Owens,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I possess
the qualifications
the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office
for the office
of a member of a Board of Education,
of member of a Board of Education.
and that I am not disqualified as a voter,
I am not disqualified as a voter,
nor by conviction of crime
nor by conviction of crime
or offense,
or offense,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of that office
perform all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Padilla. Please repeat after me. I, Tay Padilla,
I, Tate Padilla,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey
of the State of New Jersey
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and also to the governments
and also to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, Tay Padilla,
I, Tate Padilla,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I possess
the qualifications prescribed by law
the qualifications prescribed by law
for the office
for the office
of a member of a Board of Education,
of a member of the Board of Education,
and that I am not disqualified as a voter,
and I am not disqualified as a voter,
nor by conviction
nor by conviction
of crime or offense,
of crime or offense,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of that office
perform all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. We will now ask the newly elected board members to join us on the dais. Have a seat. And we will now take roll call for the new 16-17 board, excuse me. Roll call for the 16-17 board. Ms. Baskerville-Richardson.
Present.
Ms. Carter.
Present.
Ms. Fonseca.
Present.
Ms. Gaddy. Present. Mr. Jackson.
Present.
Mr. Lewis.
Present.
Ms. Owens.
Present.
Mr. Padilla.
Present.
Mr. Sellinger.
Present.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 16-17 board. First item of business for the newly elected board, item number 9 on the agenda, item number 9 on the agenda, correct, the board reorganization, selection of board officers. Floor is now open for nominations of chair.
I would like to nominate for chair.
Mr. Lewis.
I would like to nominate Antoinette Baskerville-Richardson.
Is there a second for Ms. Baskerville-Richardson?
Second.
Sellinger? That's a nomination for Ms. Baskerville-Richardson, moved by Mr. Lewis and second by Mr. Sellinger. Are there any other nominations for chair? Can I have a motion to close nominations for chair?
Motion.
Mr. Jackson, is there a second?
Second.
I have Mr. Lewis. This is a roll call vote for chair. This is a motion for chair for Ms. Baskerville-Richardson. It is moved by Mr. Lewis, seconded by Mr. Sellinger. Ms. Baskerville-Richardson.
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
Yes.
Ms. Owens.
Yes.
Ms. Gaddy.
You said Gaddy?
Gaddy.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Padilla.
Yes.
Mr. Sellinger.
Yes.
Ms. Fonseca. Yes. Congratulations, new chair, Ms. Baskerville-Richardson. Thank you. Floor is now open for nominations for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Crystal Fonseca.
Ms. Carter nominates Ms. Fonseca for vice chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Baskerville-Richardson. Is there an additional nomination for vice chair? Is there a motion to close the nominations?
Motion.
Ms. Carter, is there a second to close the
Second.
nominations? Sellinger, floor is now closed. Is there now a vote for the vice chair? This is a motion for Ms. Fonseca as vice chair, moved by Ms. Carter and second by Ms. Baskerville-Richardson. Roll call. Ms. Baskerville-Richardson.
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
Yes.
Ms. Owens.
Yes.
Ms. Gaddy.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson.
Abstain.
Okay. Mr. Lewis. Say it louder. Louder. Yes. Yes. Mr. Padilla.
Yes.
Ms. Fonseca.
I guess, yeah. Sounds good to me.
Mr. Sellinger.
Yes.
Congratulations. Ms. Fonseca, new vice chair.
Is this me? Yeah, no, this is good. Yep.
I will now, board members ready? I will now cede the floor to newly elected Madam Chair, Ms. Bashful Richardson. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am very, I don't even know what the words are right now. I take this role very seriously. And I, first of all, want to thank the entire board for your vote and your confidence in me to serve as president at this time. I'm looking forward to working with all of you as we move forward in the interest of the children in the Newark Public Schools. I want to say congratulations to our new board members, Kim Gaddy, Tave Padilla, and Leah Owens. Thank you to President Emeritus Ariana Perillo. Once president, you are always president. You have served well, and you carry that honor with you. And thank you, board members Khalil, Rashidi, and Rashan Hassan. And as has been said, we didn't always agree on everything, but serving on this board takes a lot of anyone's time, energy, and commitment, and deserves to be recognized. Congratulations to new Vice Chair, Crystal Fonseca. We will work together as partners along with the rest of the board. Thank you particularly to outgoing immediate Vice President Marquise Lewis, the longest serving and certainly most dedicated member of the Board of Education of Newark. So, looking forward to this next year, local control is on the horizon. Community schools are on the horizon, and when I say on the horizon, I don't mean in the far distance. I mean that they are things that if we just look up and look out, we can see them and we will bring them to fruition. What local control looks like and what community schools look like in Newark is up to the board, the superintendent, the district, but it is most of all, it is up to the parents, and it is up to the students, and it is up to the community. One thing I hear over and over from the old and the new members of this board is that we must increase community participation on the district level and on the school level. And I am sure that this board will work together to that end. We cannot do anything for you. We must do it with you. And I don't want to neglect, certainly, to say the names of the other members of this board who work so hard. Phil Sellinger, Donald Jackson, Dashae Carter. This board is not, it is a board of individuals who work very hard, but it is also a board of one mind, and it is a board that is going to work very hard for our children. In closing, first of all, I want to say thank you to anyone who I have forgotten, because there's always someone, and I apologize in advance, and I'm sure it will be pointed out to me. But I just want, in closing, this is a cliche. I probably shouldn't say it on TV, and I won't, but I'll kind of allude to it. And I'll say the cliche is kind of like money talks, and we know what everything else is. To that end, I think it is very important that we continue to demand full funding for our public schools. that we continue to demand and to be innovative about increasing the resources that come into our school. And I will take the liberty of speaking for the whole board and saying that this is a shared vision. So I want to thank you all, again, everyone, for your support. Looking forward to a productive year. And at this time, I would like to ask, thank you. I would like to ask our new Vice President, Crystal Fonseca, to speak, and Crystal to be followed by our newly elected board members, Kim Gaddy, Tave Padilla, and Leah Owens, in that order.
Hi, everybody. Ms. Tony, I just want to thank you for taking this place right now. I have a lot of confidence in you. I believe that you're going to do what you're committed to do. Your word is your word, so I'm believing that you're going to stick to that, and I know your experience is going to bring a lot of new things to the table as you enter into this new season. So I'm looking forward to working with you closely in our vision of doing what's right by every kid in this city. I want to thank every board member that had the confidence in me to give me support today. I don't take it lightly, and I'm looking forward to working closely with you. And let's stick together. If we're not unified, then everyone else is going to look at it like there's division, and we all have one goal. We all have one platform, and that's to serve every child in this city. So I just want to thank you for that, and to everyone in the community, I ask that you hold me accountable in this new time here, because I'm committed. Like my platform has never deviated. I came here with the position of serving this city, serving every single child in this city. So I ask that in this time, in this position, when I'm slipping up, that you hold me accountable. I was elected by you, and I will continue to serve in this position, looking in the right direction. So I thank you for your support, and I'm excited about this new season. Let's get local control.
Ms. Gaddy?
Thank you. First of all, I want to acknowledge and thank my 3 children. My oldest son, Sonny Gaddy Jr., guess who stepped out? My daughter, Frankie Monet Walls, and my son, Julian Walls. Thank you. I'm in this because Julian is a 6th grade at Harriet Tubman Elementary School. I'm a product of the Newark school system, proud graduate of Weequahic High School. And so public school education is important to me. So I do want to thank not only my family, I want to thank my pastor, my church family, all the residents in the city of Newark, my teammates that was on the Newark Unity slate, because it has never been about the 3 of us. It has always been about the children. And I am positive that all the children in the city of Newark, those who attend our traditional public schools like my son, and those who attend the public charter schools like my great niece sitting there, Dre Bankston. That's what it's about, all of our children. Also, I do want to stress that as an environmental justice organizer, I am concerned about the quality of our drinking water, and I know that I'm looking forward to this board pushing forth that agenda and addressing the health of our children, and to ensure that teachers will receive healthy children so that they can learn. Lastly, I do want to state that it is indeed a pleasure to serve with each and every one of you here. I know this is a thankless job sometime, but I'm ready to roll up my sleeve, become the team player, to move this district back to local control, but more importantly, to move this district so that all of our children can receive a quality education. Thank you, and God bless.
Mr. Padilla?
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank all of you for coming this evening, but I would like to thank right now my #1 supporter, the #1 individual who guided me put me on the right path, gave me tons of advice, and was always there for me, and that's my North Ward Councilman, Anibal Ramos. I'd like to thank the mayor for believing in me on this journey. When it was announced to me, well, it was brought to me, that we're gonna have a ticket, and I'm like, we're gonna have a ticket, really? Okay, and I gotta tell you, our biggest challenge, which really wasn't a challenge, was that for the first time in the history of the school board, we stuck together for the better of the Newark public school systems for all the children in the city of Newark. This is not about one particular ward, one particular group, or any particular school. This is about the kids, always. I'm very honored to be serving on this board. I'd also like to thank at this moment our Madam Chair, Tony Richardson, who was there for me many of times, to Minister Lewis, who kept me very busy, always. I could always call him for advice. He was always there for me. To my Senator, Teresa Ruiz, who gave me a tons of advice and guided me. Grace Spencer, Ileana Pintor, Freeholder Wayne Richardson, the Chief of Staff, Amity Baraka, and I believe there were 7 of the 9 council members who supported this unity slate. I want to thank my family, well, they were here. They were all here. But they said it was a long meeting, so we got to go. But I'd like to thank them. All my friends, my cousins who were here in support, all the PC2 group for the charter schools who voted for us for the unity slate, for believing in us. And my running mates, Leah and Kim. We always spoke, we always stuck together, and we always made it about Newark. This was not about Kim, not about Leah, and it's not about me. This election was about Newark. So moving forward, our intentions are to have a solid commitment to the district, to have a solid commitment to Newark, and I'll say it publicly now, I want to work specifically and very closely with the entire board. We should all reach common ground for the betterment of the kids of the city. To Superintendent Cerf, I'll be right there with you, okay? And last but not least, the gentleman who kept me busy from sunup to sundown. That's my manager, Sammy Gonzalez, who did a tremendous job keeping me busy, kept me everywhere, called me in the morning, called me in the afternoon, called me at night, always in communication with everything that was going on with the election. And one more, which is our manager, Anthony Solters, who did a tremendous job for us. But I thank you very much.
Ms. Owen?
So, my name is Leah Owens, and I am a champion of the Newark Public Schools District. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who supported me in the Newark Unity Slate and allowed us to be elected and be sworn in tonight. I want to thank my family, my mother, Althea, my cousin, Raven, her children, for coming down to support me. I want to thank my New Caucus family that's also in the house. I want to thank the Newark Students Union for your support. I want to thank my teammates, Kay Padilla and Kim Gaddy. It was kind of a short run, but it was a tight run, it was a strong run, and we all won, and here we are. I want to thank my campaign manager, Antoinette Baskerville Richardson. And I also want to thank Mayor Raz Baraka for his belief in me. So when I came to Newark in 2004 to be a teacher through TFA, it's no secret, always talked about it. I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to change the world, thinking that I knew everything, right? It's easy to teach. How come they just can't get it right? Well, once I stepped into the doors of Barringer High School and I began to learn about my students and their history and their struggles and their families, it changed the way that I thought about public education. And it changed the way I thought about the way that education needs to be delivered in a city like Newark to ensure that all children are successful, not just some, but everyone across this district. And it made me think more about the struggles that working families and the children I was serving were going through. It made me think about institutional racism. It made me think about segregation. It made me think about poverty. All of these factors that outside of the classroom have a devastating effect inside of the classroom. I came to school every day prepared to teach. But some of my students still fell through the cracks. Was that my fault? We need to think about the bigger picture and not just curriculum, not just a school schedule, not just which books we're choosing, but how are we teaching our children? What are we teaching our children? And what type of role model are we for them? And then I became involved in the union. And I stand here union strong. I love my union. Unions bring more democracy to our society, and they're needed because without them, the corporate interests that are running our lives now will continue to rule. So I chose to take on this role, and the type of leader that I want to be is a transparent one. I want to make sure that I am available. I want to make sure that the families and the children of this district are being served. So I call on you to call on me and to hold me accountable at every turn. We need full local control now. I've studied CUSAT, and it's excellent to have an assessment system, but a few years ago, we passed CUSAT. We still don't have control back in those areas. We will not have local control of this district until we begin, the people of Newark, to act as though we have local control. That's it, straightforward, bottom line, period. These are our schools. Whose schools? Whose schools? Whose schools? Whose schools? And we need full funding now. Tomorrow at the public budget hearing meeting, it will be an excellent presentation as always that Ms. Valerie Wilson gives, and she answers the questions thoroughly, and we appreciate her for that. But it cannot be lost that Governor Christie has been underfunding Newark since the day he got into office. That $20+ million was not a gift. We deserve that. That's our money already. You're giving us something that we already were supposed to have. Give us all of our money. So that is my goal, to work tirelessly for local control, for full funding, and for the children of the Newark Public Schools District. And I look forward to working with all of the board members and the administration to reach that goal. Thank you.
At this time, although he is certainly not leaving the board and certainly is not just coming, I would like to ask Mr. Marquise Lewis to please say a few words as the outgoing vice president.
Good evening, Superintendent Sheriff, Board Chair Antoinette Baskerville Richardson, Vice Chair Crystal Fonseca, fellow board members, students, staff, and viewing audience. I would like to thank you all for your support over the last 7 years, especially as I served as Vice Chair. Thank you for every parent, staff member, clergy member, family, friend who supported me despite my shortfalls. For we know in our Christian faith that we have all fell short of the glory. But I'm glad that I don't look like what I've been through. You know, just like I know, this journey was not easy. I built some great relationships. I learned about a lot of people. I learned what to do and what not to do through the relationships I built on this board. In life, you live and you learn. I must admit that I learned so many valuable lessons. I learned that everybody that smiles in your face ain't your friend. But I also learned that despite those who may slay you, you must stay fast on your course, because there's only one person who has control of your life, and his name is Jesus Christ. I don't apologize for believing in God. I don't apologize for believing that though that folks may look down on me and may crucify me because of what I don't have, that there is still a God that sit high but look low upon me, that will anoint every footstep that I take. And though you may not think that I belong here, the reality is you don't control my life. Even though I'm no longer vice chair of this board, I will fully support our chairwoman. I will stand by her 1,000% to make sure that we still stay on the course. And I will still stay committed to ensuring a safe educational environment for all of our children. With that being said, I would like to do as I said last week on my Facebook. I would like everyone to pray. Pray for our children, pray for our staff members, pray for our teachers, pray for our superintendent, pray for our board president and our vice president as we fight for local control. This is not an easy task, for you know that when you're going against people's pockets, there's always a hard task amongst you. But I'm reminded of David and Goliath. We're going to one day take down that giant. We're going to take down that giant, and when we take down that giant, we're not going to need all 3 stones. Just one stone in one perfect spot will knock him down. As we continue to fight for local control, we must continue to put our children first. As a veteran board member, I will hope that we as board members will continue to get our training that we need to become better board members. My personal goal is by November, I will receive my Master Board Member certification, because I believe in Newark. It's not just a saying to me, it's my lifestyle. Since I was 16 years old, I fought on behalf of our children and on our district and for my city. So when I say I believe in Newark, I truly believe in Newark. It's not just a saying, because I believe in our children. I believe in our staff. I believe in Newark Public Schools. And most of all, I believe in God. So thank you, and I hope that we can put our personal differences aside and run this board so that our light will shine amongst this nation, so that people will see what it means to be a board member. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Before we move on to our voting items or item for this evening, we will now hear the report of our student representative, Mr. Nathan R. Dos Santos.
Good evening, fellow board members and community stakeholders, students, parents, and teachers. I'd also like to welcome the new members on board. I'm afraid that possibly the tone of this speech might be a little bit too businesslike in retrospect of the tone of the entire meeting, but I'll keep it light. I apologize for my absence last month, but in the meanwhile, I haven't forgotten the topics of the previous few meetings and would like to take a moment to rehash them. The two mainly being the flexibility of the health PE curriculum mentioned in February and the uniform policy mentioned in December. Everybody's favorite topic of debate. In regards to them, I'm going to make two requests that I would like to be recorded down in the meeting's minutes. One, for an update on each high school's uniform policy and whether it's possible to, one, implement laminated IDs for every student instead of using uniform conformity for security. Two, the wiggle room for polos and pants not necessarily of the school's color or from the uniform shop. And three, removal of uniform policy overall in favor of a reasonable, comprehensive dress code that is common in many other districts. My second request is a slight alteration to the original proposal I gave in February for the health and PE curriculum. I had a conversation with a coach from Eastside who informed me on option B, or some people call it option 2, an alternative curriculum track that already exists and contains many of the same ideas as my proposal. My second request is then for an investigation as to why this option isn't communicated to counselors, high school teachers, etc., who can subsequently relay it to students. If possible, I would like to have a small committee on long-term changes to the curriculum, certainly with ample teacher input. To get to tonight's news, I had the opportunity to get in contact with a few freshman students last March who voiced to me their concern over the valuing and perception of music education in the city. Many of them felt that their grammar schools to high school, there has been a dearth of music classes, whether that be orchestral, band, choral, or even percussion. In grammar school, their classes were rarely advanced beyond the beginner stage and didn't allow for specialization of an instrument or preparation for higher level youth groups, such as the Greater Newark Youth Orchestra. For those who want to tackle music at a major in college or even as a career, they will be unfortunately ill-prepared unless they go attend Arts High, and room for improvement can be found there too. Eastside, for example, was forced to downsize its faculty after complications arose over updates to the collective bargaining agreement last April, as many remember, amongst other things. In turn, it lost its band program. Being without an instrument group, orchestra, band, pretty much nothing, we are still grateful to have a new choir director and thus retain that privilege. But subsisting is not the same as thriving, not to mention how it may be at other comprehensive high schools. The arts are the lifeblood to student motivation and, by extension, achievement. And I stand by the creed that without having a chance to forge bonds and find common ground over harmonizing, a student will have a lousy time doing the same in the professional world, no matter what field they choose. Years of scientific studies back this, but we don't need the opinions of academia to convince us, for I'm sure that all of us have, at one time or another, experienced the growth, the comfort offered by music. It is accessible to everybody, but more can be done. While it would be more unreasonable to propose citywide changes overnight, and in consideration of budget financially irresponsible, there are a multitude of nonprofit organizations that NPS could partner with, such as BMI Foundations, the Amateur Chamber of Music Incorporated, the American String Teacher Association, the list goes on. If a committee on the health PE curriculum turns out to be not in the district's and the community's best interest, a committee on the fine arts is a must. Let me then bring up a third and final request for the meeting. For the newer public schools to get a little bit more creative, to look beyond the crafting of the ideal student through standardized tests, school interventions concocted behind two-seaters walls, or what else might be the trend for the year. Because the arts are here to stay. I would appreciate any comments that the community might have on this speech or anything else that you would like to discuss concerning the future of Newark schools. You can send me an email at newarkstudentsfeedback@gmail.com. Again, that's newarkstudentsfeedback@gmail.com. Thank you. This concludes the student report for the month of April.
Thank you, Mr. Dos Santos. Are there any questions for Mr. Dos Santos, board members, at this time? Questions or commentary? So, Mr. Dos Santos, I would just, I just want to make a couple of suggestions. I think it would be very helpful to the board members if we could get copies of your presentation, either hard copies or via email, because I hear a lot of issues that rather than you kind of expressing them and they kind of get left on the table, that there are a lot of these are issues that we could actually take up in committee. I heard a number of issues that could certainly be taken up that are curriculum issues that could be taken up in the program and instruction committee. So if we have that and we can see that, then we can, you know, suggest to you what those are, and perhaps they could be on the committee agendas and that you could come and speak to them. It's just a suggestion, but what I'm saying is I think that the entire board, that there are many ways that we can be helpful to you in the things that you aim to do as part of the board structure and how we operate, rather than you kind of being outside of it, you functioning with it, you know, in it. So thank you very much. And at this time, we are going to move on to our voting item, which is item 10 on your agenda, which is the approval of minutes. Item 10.1, the approval of the minutes for March 16, 2016, regular board meeting.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
I have Ms. Carter. Is there a second? Mr. Salinger? This is a motion to approve the March 16, 2016 regular board meeting minutes. Moved by Ms. Carter, second by Mr. Salinger. Roll call, Ms. Carter. Vice Chair Fonseca?
Yes.
Ms. Gaddy?
Abstain.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Owens?
Abstain.
Mr. Padilla?
Abstain.
Mr. Salinger?
Yes.
Chair Richardson?
Yes.
Motion carries. Minutes approved.
Thank you. We will now move into public participation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the public participation portion of the meeting. As a reminder, time limits for all speakers are enforced. There is no sharing or granting of speaking time to others. Speakers must be present when their name is called. All speakers are required to give their names and addresses. The public participation portion of the meeting is limited to 1 hour and 30 minutes. Examples of unacceptable behavior that will not be permitted include, but are not limited to, naming districted employees and engaging in personal attacks, slurs, excessive loudness, calling out, yelling, generally disruptive behavior, attempting to disrupt the meeting, or inciting others to do so. Public participation at board meetings is intended to allow individual members of the public the opportunity to address the board and the administration on issues of public concern, not as a forum for two-way dialogue with the board or district officials. The superintendent or designee or Madam Chair may respond to questions either at the end of the session, or responses may be provided at a later time. The superintendent, designee, or Madam Chair may interrupt any speaker or terminate any speaking privilege if the speaker's comments are disruptive or obscene. An individual may be cautioned that a personally directed statement may be slanderous or defaming, and the individual may be liable for his or her statements. Attempts to hijack or filibuster the proceedings, repeated interrupting or badgering the board members, repetitive and truculent speech, or disregard of the rules of decorum are not tolerated and may subject the individual to removal from the meeting. If necessary, the meeting may be adjourned.
Thank you. Our first two speakers, and I'll call them in the order that they are listed, are students, Zay Williams and Adanja Durham. Are they here? Next speaker, John Abagon, followed by Annette Austin.
Good evening.
Good evening.
On behalf of the members of the NTU, I want to congratulate and welcome the newly elected school board members to the advisory board, and to welcome the return of Tony Baskerville to the chair and Krista Fonseca as vice chair. Before I bring you up to date on the fiasco you have gotten yourselves elected to, I want to share our support for Mayor Baraka on a most pressing issue. Reading from today's press release by Mayor Baraka, quote, the amount to be raised by local property taxes in 16-17 school year in the budget proposed by the state-controlled NPS is 10.3% higher than the previous school year. This increase from 115 million to 127 million will cause higher tax bills in both 16 and 17 for Newark residents and businesses. The school portion of property tax bills for residents in this city will be increased by 6.20%. Under this budget, the people of Newark are being forced to pay for bad decisions by state officials, including the hole left in the budget by state-appointed Superintendent Cammie Anderson, One Newark Plan, the UP list. Cammie Anderson forced the Newark Public Schools to pay twice for every unassigned teacher on the list, and the expansion of charter schools without regard for the impact of that expansion on the budget of the remaining traditional public schools. It is the responsibility of the state, not Newark taxpayers, teachers, aides, or clerks, or any other public school employee still without a contract, to eliminate the need for a school tax increase. Along with the mayor, we urge the NPS and this board to delay final submission of the school budget to give the state time to come up with revenues needed to avoid a tax increase, further cuts, and further delay of contract negotiations with NPS employees who are working with an expired contract. We're still anxious to see how the administration handled last month's vote to increase the minimum wage in this district to $15 an hour. If you're a per diem aide or clerk or any per diem positions for $14, that $1 a week, an hour increase comes out to $40 approximately a week. That's $160 a month, which hurts Newark families. I'm hoping that you guys are having that discussion behind closed doors, and that at some point or another you're going to issue a public statement saying that that is indeed the case. The NTU urged State Commissioner Hespy in 2 separate meetings to put an end to Cammie's expensive schemes. One Newark, the Ute Pool, and the vicious and expensive attack on teacher tenure. Bringing up failing tenure charges against teachers alone has cost the NPS untold millions and accomplished nothing more than to further demoralization of good teachers, many of whom dedicated their lives' career to our children. The enrichment of politically connected law firms who lose these cases day in and day out, yet are paid anyway, have been the only winners. To allow the current leadership at 2 Cedar Street off the hook is political amnesia. Chris Cerf was her boss and gave her the playbook. To pass the buck of their irresponsible leadership to the city's taxpayers is an abomination, and you should each one of you take that back to your patrons and your constituents. Mayor Ras Baraka is absolutely correct on this issue and can count on our full support. The state-operated district created this mathematically predictable mess, and it alone should pay the cost. The $27 million sent by Governor last year only served to hold charter schools harmless from cuts and deficits, but did nothing to save the traditional school budget from cuts. This is a direct result of thoughtless corporate charter school expansion by the overpaid state, as recognized by Republican State Assemblyman O'Scanlan and State Senator Beck. Both argued successfully that charter expansion in their districts would have a negative impact on their school budget. Why was the NTU and Mayor Baraka's identical argument dismissed by Trenton? Why did this superintendent not send a letter recommending a thumbs down on expansion? Why was our identical argument dismissed? because Senator O'Scanlan and Barbara Beck are both white and Raz Baraka is black. End of story. NCU members are tired of having their entire day co-opted by failed reform schemes dreamed up by people who have no business being in education. They're tired of seeing their paychecks remain stagnant while their cost of living goes skyward and their employers fund an infinite number of assistant superintendents and assistants to the assistant's assistant, while all the while watching coworkers get laid off due to economic reasons. Millions and millions of dollars paid out to consultants. Blame the teachers. Will we ever get to the bottom of the overtime pay scandal created by the now missing in action Vanessa Rodriguez? NTU members are tired of watching children fall through cracks that didn't exist prior to the arrival of the reformers. The Education Law Center has federal United States Department of Education investigators keeping a close eye on the dubious operations of the Office of Special Ed. State arbitrators pointed out that the NPS illegally fired attendance counselors, and yet nothing is being done to bring them back. Students and staff are routinely attacked in and outside of school property, and yet NPS forces local administrators to hush it up or even turn the tables on staff, scaring them into believing that they will be disciplined for some failure of theirs to prevent the attacks and robberies. Like rape victims who are blamed by the prosecutor, they are twice violated, once by the attacker and again by the people responsible for their safety. It's been over a month now. Anyone see any new lead water filters delivered to their schools? Still drinking water from that carton of expired FEMA water? Every local school district in this state has a mandatory 2% spending cap, and the Newark Public Schools has lead in their water fountains. Students and school staff depend upon the kindness of strangers to provide drinkable bottled water like some third world country. Newark Public Schools have also had to lay off teachers and other staff, and your schools have to hold bake sales because of the state-imposed budget cuts. Meanwhile, over on South Orange Avenue, corporate charter schools in Newark are having a field day. The money just keeps on flowing. KIPP Incorporated Charter School, for example, just built a brand new $24 million athletic field directly in front of Westside High School, which doesn't have its own or safe drinking water. How's that for in your face? In conclusion, new board members, beware. Let's not forget Andy Smarik. Google it, S-M-A-R-I-C-K. Former New Jersey Deputy Commissioner of Education who wrote the famous words in the Charter School Bible, quote, "The solution isn't an improved traditional district. It's an entirely different delivery system for public education. The solution is a system of chartered schools." It's never their intention to fix the traditional schools. Never was. He wrote those words as Deputy Commissioner of Education, working under Christopher Surf and the prior administration down in Trenton in 2008. The solution isn't an improved traditional district. They didn't want to have anything to do with improving the district to begin with. When you look at everything that has happened since the arrival of the now discredited Cammie Anderson, the installation of Pink Hula Hoop and others at 60 Park Place in Newark. 60 Park Place in Newark. That's their little hangout, okay? The pattern of negligence was never not intentional. This current condition we find ourselves in was the goal. Board members and those who supported you, it will be incumbent upon all of you now to demonstrate the true purpose of this newfound cooperative spirit, to push for the day that a citizen of Newark can run for a board member on a KIPP or North Star board. To push for an advancement of the day Newark citizens will be invited to participate in charter school board meetings, publicly review, discuss, and debate their charter school budgets. Corporate charter school advocates are quick to try and convince us that charter schools are public schools. Well, if that's true, then start acting like one and let the people see your books.
Next speaker, Annette Alston, followed by Myra Lawson.
Congratulations to every board member who is here to strengthen our traditional public schools for our children. Those of you that are here at the behest of public charters, understand that if you think we are going to allow you to expand charter schools to the detriment of all of our children, we are going to fight you. You represent traditional public schools if you are sitting on the Newark Public School Board, not Dre at the public charter. They have their own board. The expansion of charter schools has the school district careening toward New Orleans and Michigan's Achievement Authority. Both are absolute disasters for children. There is no reason in the world we should have any desire to emulate their failures. Yet, this push still exists for only one reason and one reason only, and that is to line the pockets of hedge funders and private corporations. Check out the Huffington Post article May 2014, which details the history of how hedge funders used an Appropriations Act to make 7 times the amount of money they invest in charter schools projects while traditional schools are starved. New Orleans closed its last public school 2 years ago, and according to Diane Ravitch, the achievement gap not only has not closed, but it is still one of the lowest performing districts in the state. Yet, there are those on the board that are not opposed to charter expansion, even though it means that the district schools would be strangled with fewer resources, while charters that do cherry pick in various ways would be allowed to thrive. I don't have time to go into the negative impact that this has on students with IEPs, students that most charters refuse to claim to be or claim to be ill-equipped to handle. I spoke to a West Side student from my church who says that they don't do lab experiments for biology. They only use biology books. Not all of their classes even have smart boards or computer equipment. What would be possible if we weren't diverting so much money to charters? Having taught middle school science before, I know that my students were most engaged when they were allowed hands-on experiences. Science was literally alive when they were able to chart and graph life cycles, compare what they were seeing in microscopes to what they saw on books or in the chart in the classroom. Charters impede curriculum training and coaching for teachers that at one time set a standard not only for the state but the country, which is now is non-existent. I truly believe that if we had continued on the trajectory that we were under Bolden and even Janey, we would be further ahead as evidenced by the first QSAC report in 2011, a report that Governor Christie and then Acting Commissioner Cerf rejected. The move toward community schools is a positive way to go. However, even then, we are watching those who would say one thing and yet go in another direction. Board members, we are watching you. We will fight you. If you imagine for a moment that we are going to sit idly allowing you to be overseers, to hunt hedge fund masters, while sitting there pretending to do what is right for the children that are in our traditional public schools.
Next speaker, Myra Lawson, followed by Dolores Lemons Gresham.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Actually, I just showed up to this meeting just out of curiosity. I really didn't sign up to speak, so thank you to whoever put my name up there. I would like to say, though, that the Weequahic High School Alumni Association is still working to help the school succeed. And I want to thank everyone in this auditorium and in this community who helps us help those kids. We still want the board to focus on fully funding our school for next year and the following years to make sure that we have a full complement of students at the school. I would like to thank you for the decision that was made recently to not reopen the Girls Academy. I would also like to ask the board to continually look at Eagle Academy and relocating those boys to another campus because frankly, our building cannot take much more of the abuse that it is struggling through. With that said, I would also like to congratulate the winners of the recent election to the Newark Public School Board. And I also would like to encourage all of them, including the sitting people on the board, to keep your focus on our public schools. The charter schools are not public schools. If I cannot go to a charter school board meeting and make a comment, then all I can say is that they are not part of my democratic system of which I pay taxes toward as a Newark resident. So please make sure that you keep our public school children front and foremost in every deliberation that you make, every decision that you take, and every budget that you pass. Thank you.
Dolores Lemons Gresham, followed by Darren Martin. Mr. Martin.
Ooh, that's a good breeze over there. Thank you. Darren Martin, 107 Ivy Street, which is Ivy Hill Elementary School, and wherever the students go, parents go, and people that need my help and assistance in Newark. So let me say congrats to the 3 new board members that came on board. Please keep your focus on all kids in Newark. I'll say that again, all kids in Newark, not just some. I know for sure my friend Leah does that. I'm not going to say that about the other 2 just yet, so hopefully you'll prove me wrong. I'm less concerned about who your council person is, and Senator Ruiz, who hasn't done anything for this community. I don't really care about those people that don't do anything for this community. When money starts to drive politics, I get interested in that because something's going on there. So that little group PC, whatever they call themselves, with that failed guy from Jersey City that didn't do anything in Jersey City, and that failed council person that was here, we don't have time for that kind of stuff. So keep the focus on all children, all. Next, okay, let's continue to refuse that worthless park test. Let me say it again, that worthless park test. Continue to refuse that test. And you should go on New Jersey Kids and Family website. That's New Jersey Kids and Family website to get any information you need and how you, very simple to go put for your refusal letter, very simple. Me and my family were happy to be part of those interviews to make sure we educate parents. So refuse that stupid test. And if you really think about it, anybody that has common sense, how is that test going to help you for college and career readiness? Just think about that. Think about the narrative they're putting out there. College and career, that test? Have you seen the questions on that test? I mean, that's really ridiculous. So don't fall for the okie doke. All right, where am I at here? Let's see. Any recent news I need to know, Ms. Wilson, about the water situation? I have to thank you publicly, Ms. Wilson, because you came to Ivy Hill, and right after everything first broke out, and it was a tough meeting, and you stayed right there, and you took all the questions, and I applaud you for that. That's stand-up. I like that. I like that. You did a great job. We should give her a hand. I mean, she did a great job. I keep hearing local control come out of the mouths of a lot of people. I just don't know what local control is going to look like when it actually happens if we keep allowing the charter schools to do what they're doing. So local control is going to look like what when it gets here? That's the question about local control. So let's keep our eyes on the prize as far as that goes. Back to the water real quick. Let's not become like Camden is, where they're spending $75,000 for the last, who knows how many, since 2003, $75,000 a year for water. And I think one school in Jersey City is paying $50,000 a year. Let's just fix the darn pipes. How about fixing them? Let's just fix them. Last but not least is, I hear that you guys have tried to ban a student. I think we need to be very, very careful. Banning me is one thing, but when you ban a current student, that's distasteful. I don't understand why anybody would do that.
Excuse me, Mr. Martin.
Okay, I'm
Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin, please finish up, and I do think that what you're saying may deserve some extra attention.
Okay.
So
I'm going to wrap up. Thank you, Madam Chair. All I'm saying is that be very careful about that because there's some legal ramifications there, and this district is broke already. So don't ban students.
Next speaker, Maureen Robinson, followed by Denise Cole, followed by Yolanda Johnson.
Greetings, Maureen Robinson, 428 Doyle Street, Elizabeth, New Jersey, special education teacher, Central High School. I'm going to try to get through three issues of concern to me. Superintendent Cerf and board members, when I speak before you, I am exercising my First Amendment constitutional rights. Therefore, Superintendent Cerf, I would appreciate it if you would instruct your Director of Security to convey this message to your supervisor of security at Central High School. At the conclusion of my speech in April 2016, I was confronted by the supervisor of security in a contentious, harassing, intimidated, and hostile manner, asking me questions like, has anyone ever attacked you while you were watching to and from your car like they are attacking teachers and staff at Barrington Weekway? What is your problem? I told her that fighting is a problem. She said they don't fight like that. I said, yes, they do. And I reminded her of the horrible fight that had just occurred a few days prior to my speech. Her comment was, oh, we just have a few fights every now and then. I said that we shouldn't have any. Ultimately, I walked away from her because I found her approach unprofessional, offensive, and confrontational. Normally, she doesn't speak to me. I would appreciate it if you would have your Director of Security to talk to her and instruct her to leave me alone. And the building is still out of control. 2 Fridays ago, as I was leaving the building, the senior student that they sent to Washington, D.C. to sing the national anthem several months ago had his girlfriend hemmed up behind the door and wouldn't let her leave. He told her, you leave when I tell you to leave. I contacted security. In doing follow-up research on him, I learned that he has a pattern of either verbal and or physically abusing this girl. The second issue that I would like to discuss is the lack of due process for teachers. Several weeks ago, I contacted a union representative and questioned him about the chain of command protocol action for teachers. It used to be verbal warning, written warning, and then discipline action. The rep said that there was none. So my question to him was, then basically, teachers have no rights. He said that's correct. The problem that I'm having with the union, aside from them refusing to represent me while extorting almost $1,000 a year from me, is that there are no black representatives in powerful positions at the union. And the Newark School District is a predominantly black school district. I have been leaving messages for the director of the union to return my calls over 3 weeks, and he has yet to give me the courtesy of a return call. The rep that I call also has a nasty attitude. He likes to talk to black folk like he is their father. He is very unprofessional at times. Sometimes he catches himself. Finished?
Ms. Robinson, yes, thank you very much. That is your time. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Denise Cole. Yolanda Johnson. Ms. Johnson.
Good evening. Good evening. Is it on? It's on? Good evening, all. Good evening, all. I want to say first, congratulations to the newly elected school board members, and thank you to all of the school board members for your continuous efforts and delivering us the services that we need. However, in the beginning, you all seen a video regarding the services and activities that we have here at George Washington Carver. I can't sit here and tell you that we have
those services, and there are good things going on here. I can tell you that we have children that's in the hallways all day long, starting from 2nd grade. I can tell you that this very auditorium that we're sitting in, right about there, in that back there where they call it forgot what they call it, but that's where they go to have sex. I can tell you that every day a teacher is getting assaulted by a student. I can tell you every day that the parents are complaining that the principal is never in the building. As a matter of fact, I just had one knock on my door today because just in case nobody knows, I live right across the street. So everybody knows that I'm always advocating, so they always know where to find me. And I always get a knock on my door. And as early as this morning, I had a parent knock on my door today to tell me that a teacher named Ms. Brown requested that she had her child evaluated, and she felt very uncomfortable with the teacher recommended that her child be evaluated, which I never knew that teachers could do that, but that should be something that you all be interested in. Another issue that I'm really having a problem with letting go is the fact that my child was suspended most recently on level 4 suspension. And if anybody knows my daughter, she is not a problem child. She has never been in trouble. She has never gotten into any disciplinary repercussions with her teachers or anybody. When you see my child, and I'm not saying that she's an angel, I'm just saying that she was not warranted a level 4 suspension. And then the only, when I asked the principal, how can we remedy that, as opposed to suspending her for a week, how could we just have her inside school so she won't miss any of her educational experience? The only thing that I was offered was a trip to the psychiatrist here inside the school. You might want to look at that because I'm really bothered by that. So I'm thankful that she was accepted into university school, because that's where she will be going next year, so that I can get her out the way. And let me just say, this was after I sat with Senator Ruiz, the day after I sat with Senator Ruiz requesting for 8th grade teachers for this school, so that these students can transition from 8th grade to 9th grade successfully. This happened to my daughter. So lastly, I would like to ask a question, because I know in June of 2015, we talked about the Newark Success Board, and we had a community meeting about the Newark Success Board, and I haven't heard anything yet, but we were promised to get updates, and we're only just like a few weeks from school ending, and the promise was that we were going to get specific and appropriate timelines and benchmarks for the return of local control.
Excuse me, Ms. Johnson. Thank you very much. Your time is up. I have made note of what you're saying, and I will find out.
So are they going to give us an update at least?
Thank you.
Are they going to give us an update?
I will, after all the speakers, board members will have the opportunity to respond, because we have a number of speakers today, so we're not going to stop and respond.
School is about to end in June, and we haven't heard anything.
I have your point. I have it written down, and it's noted. Thank you. Next speaker, Deborah Smith-Gregory, followed by Chris Canick, followed by Demarius Jean Renault. Deborah Smith-Gregory, I thought I saw her. Oh. In the interest of time, if the other speakers whose names are called could be near one of the mics, it would be helpful, because we have a lot of speakers.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Deborah Smith Gregory, and I serve as the president of the Newark branch NAACP. I just gave 2 letters to Ms. Jones, one for Superintendent Cerf and one for Board President Richardson. I'm delivering a letter of request that is regarding State Street becoming an archive for Newark Public Schools, and I know that you've received letters from other concerned citizens. I gave them to Ms. Jones to hand deliver to you. I also want to thank the student board member for your report. Thank you for being critically thoughtful about what students need. And I would like to have your email address. You gave it out, but it was very quick, so I would like to have it before I leave. Congratulations and welcome to the 3 newly installed board members who were installed this evening. Board members, you have work to do. Tomorrow is the budget hearing, and the superintendent, who was at the time the commissioner who condoned the irresponsibility of former Superintendent Anderson, will now tell us what has to be done for a gap, closing a gap that is, I think it's now $10.9 million. We'll find out where's the money coming from. Is it coming from the taxpayers? Is it coming from the schools? Will the charter schools become good neighbors and help bear the cost? Mr. Cerf talks about not dwelling on the past, but we have to remember the past in order to go forward. And being the architect of the One Newark plan and having 17 schools closed and displaced some 5,000 children that we're still trying to track, has been the creation of a separate and unequal school district in Newark. The charter schools run by educational management organizations have been given free rein at the detriment of the school district. The slogan, quality education for all, does not really apply to all. Some traditional public schools grapple with rates of as much as 30% population of special needs students with little or no resources. And while the board heard from a special education district employee about bringing in even more fragile students along with their resources, we must address those who are already here and we have no resources for them. So board members, I am very, very glad that Ms. Richardson is the board president. We need her experience, her dedication, and her discernment to help us navigate through this financial crisis, returning our schools to local control, and supporting the implementation of strong, effective community schools, and working for full funding of our schools. I know her leadership will prevail, and her concern for our children, all our children, is without question. We thank the board members for agreeing to work with her by your vote of confidence in her leadership. Together, we call for local control of our schools, full funding of our schools, and a renewed commitment of effective implementation of creative community schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Chris Canick. Next speaker, Hamaris.
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. The lighting is really bad. I apologize.
Yep, mic's on. Okay, my name's Chris Canick. I work at Central High School. I think Miss Maureen Robinson already spoke on behalf of some of Central High School's teachers. I'll continue to speak on behalf of the others. including herself, and I will remind you that as North Star Academy continues to see sub 10% special needs rates, we persist at 20+% throughout all grades in our school. This, to me, is unacceptable. When you talk about public school and you claim to have a random lottery, that should mean that the distribution is about even by school. In fact, in Central High School, given that we do pull from the general population, you'll see that our statistics are virtually the same in every single grade level. When I see half or a third of the rate of special needs in a charter school, I don't know what to say about that. Well, actually, I do. There's a word for it. You see, when you Google segregation, the very first example is this one. It's literally right there in italics. We walk every day into a building with 22 to 26% special needs. That's by grade level, by the way. And I don't know what to say about that aside from, hey, I went and announced the Uncommon Schools, aka that's the parent of North Star. I announced their board meeting last one of our board meetings. And what do you know? I showed up on the day. I had friends in tow. I had union banners. I was wearing my same union shirt. And would you believe it? The security had no idea why I was at the Fairmount campus. No idea. And yet I showed him on the Uncommon Schools website that they had announced the meeting for the Fairmount campus. I just checked. I checked today, 10 minutes ago. And the school calendar for North Star Academy has the board meeting at Fairmount. When I walked in and asked, where is the meeting then? I got two different answers. When I asked how I could have found out that it changed, I got none. You want to talk public versus charter, then that's what you have to say. And you have to stop saying that charter schools are public schools. Everyone on the stage right now represents public schools, not charter schools. That was your old job, Mr. Cerf, when you were appointed as Commissioner of Education, and you had to deal with everyone. Now your job description, and the job description of every NPS board member up there, is to deal with public schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamarius Jean Renault, Norma McClendon, Kathleen Witcher, Jimmy White, Kathleen, Ms. Witcher, Ms. Witcher, and then followed by Jimmy White.
I'm representing the NAACP Education Committee statewide and the Alumni Association of Southside Malcolm X Shabazz High School. First to say, our system has been mutilated and destroyed, and it's for this board. We charge this board to right the wrong. At issue, we know that there are layoffs pending. There have already been hundreds of layoffs of school staff and teachers. We must demand also that we keep our landmark. There's a preservation program underway which will archive many of the items that comprise the history of the Newark Public Schools at State Street School. We need those archives to tell our story and to work to keep the history of the schools of the city of Newark alive. At issue, the State Department of Education and our Governor Christie have cut the at-risk aid to children and to those children with limited English by more than $50 million. We must respond to that. We must let our legislators know we need that money in the school district. We already have a deficit that is so deep that we want to sell off schools, that we want to lay off more staff, that we house substitute teachers in rooms where licensed certified staff should be. Our children are being deprived. At issue, we have scores of children who are in the 12th grade who want to graduate this year in June. They must rush to complete tests, to complete their portfolios and appeals letters in order to make up for the failed Parks test. At issue, we also know that we need more certified, experienced staff in our special education departments. Our children are being deprived when we privatize and send in others from private companies to do the work of those who were laid off from our child study teams. At issue, we have a feeder school plan coming back to the South Ward. The parents won. The Pulse group filed suit and won their suit. That was last year. Coming this September, we will have a feeder school model of elementary school children going into Malcolm X Shabazz High School, which is going to add several courses to the school program and is going to expand to after-school programs this year. We need the board's help to notify every parent, to notify all in our community about the coming Community Schools Project. We invite everyone to come to our next meeting of the Alumni Association on Thursday, May the 19th, the birthday of our standard bearer, Malcolm X, when we celebrate his legacy with more plans for the community school. We also
excuse me, Ms. Wilter, if you could please finish up.
We demand local control. We ask whose schools? These are our schools. We need local control now. Thank you.
Thank you. Jimmy White, followed by Lucius Jones and Lyndon Brown.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Newark, 63 Sherman Avenue, Jimmy White. First issue I want to talk about is this water issue. What I'm afraid of is that the first question I would like to ask the board is, do you know how many water bottles each kid get per week, per day? Do they share with the staff members? Do they share with the principals? Do the lunch lady take from these water bottles that's being donated? And how long will the donations keep coming in? Which is very important because we have kids with asthma. We need clean water as soon as possible and accessible water for our kids as soon as possible. Every kid, some kids are bigger than other kids. Some kids need more than 2 water bottles. Some kids need more than 1 water bottle. You know, so we need filters on our water as soon as possible. One of the reasons why I don't want to talk about my platform, I lost, but one of the reasons I ran is because I don't take any mess as far if there's money for prisons, then there's sure enough water to at least put filters on the pipes for our children. So that's one thing, and I'm asking this board. It's actually not Chris Surf's job to continue to ask the state. It's actually our elected officials' jobs to lobby to the state and lobby to the mayor and also lobby to Trenton and even the federal government if needs be to bring attention to our water issue. Also. The overcrowded classroom issues, that's also seemed to be an issue for the last 30 years. I also want to know what's being done about that issue. We seem to be having layoffs. What are ideas that you have instead of taking that, what are ideas that you have to prevent the layoffs? What are some of the things you're going to do as far as, what are things you're willing to do? We got a couple of people up there that's been on the board for over 6 years, over 4 years, over 2 years. These things has been a long problem. When Chris Surf was commissioner, now he's superintendent and it's still an issue. So I'm also on this mic to tell I do demand a removal and a resignation of Chris Surf because I did not forget what you've done as commissioner. I'm not forgetting what you've done as superintendent. I'm going to push. So far, I have 270 people that logged on to the New Jersey Department of Education demanding filters for our waters by May 16th. So what I'm asking for also is support from the parents and also support from the board to get filters by May 16th. The state, we cannot continue to wait for the state to tell us what to do. We need to be proactive in what we need the state to do. So we need you to have water filters for our water pipes by May 16th. That's over 30 days since this problem's been an issue. They always give the 30-day mark, 60-day mark, but we're giving you 30 days to find the money for our children. So, also, what else? Because I forgot my writing points. Back some of these kids up. We also need y'all. Also, I want to know the results of the lead in our children. What are the results? You know, we got our children tested. Y'all as a board, y'all over those children. What are the results? How much children did consume lead? Also, my last point is also local control. I believe if y'all really want local control, it's time to sue the state for local control. It's time to stop playing. It's time to stop playing around. We got a lot of lawyers that are willing to help. We got a lot of people in the community that's willing to help. So, thank you. Have a good night, but I'll be on y'all for the rest of the season. Also, no translocation of charter schools into Newark Public Schools.
Mr. White. Thank
Please,
you.
no translocation in charter schools into our Newark Public Schools.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Keep them Newark Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Lucius Jones, followed by Lyndon Brown, Wilhelmina Holder, and Cheryl Crawford.
Welcome back, Madam Chair. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We welcome the board members. We welcome back, Madam Chair. We welcome back the Newark Public Schools for 2016-2017 work that needs to be done. Board members, you have been given a packet from the committee and board that I serve on as a parent member, representing the signatures of supporters and petitions of folks who support our goal to preserve the historical work of in the district and artifacts. You also been given an opportunity to understand that we want our museum, which is going to be a state-of-the-art museum that protects the interests of all diverse communities within the city of Newark. What does this all mean? Simple language. We don't think it's right for them to throw our children's information, plaques, trophies, all their awards in the dumpster. And that's what they've done for the last 10 years in the city of Newark. We don't think that it's right to close school and turn back around and throw all of our materials, all the things students have won, the yearbooks, the awards, and everything that our generation before us have worked so hard for. People spend a lot of money on old furniture because they value it. But the Newark Public Schools has decided that the history of the city of Newark is not important. So I ask that the board members read the information and continue to tell the superintendent that we need him to support the historical and preservative information, artistic information of the Newark Public Schools. That's one of the things I'm asking for. On another note, I'm going to say to this board that the diversity of the city of Newark is very important to the city of Newark. If you go down the Young Browns, they are proud people. You may go to the North Ward, Bloomfield Avenue, and you see proud people. In the South Ward, you used to ride up Bergen Street and you saw proud people. All of a sudden, we had folks come in here of a different nature, of a different color, and tell us that we are not saving our children, that our children are not getting educated and they know more how to educate them than us. While at the same time, 30-year court case, Abbott versus Burke, says that give the district more money. What did they give the district? More reform. I am sick and tired of watching these folks, I'm trying to be nice, come in here, these Jim Crow folks, tell us tell us how to prepare the Negroes for college. Because that's what it's coming down to. It's telling black people that you don't have the education and the smarts to educate your kids. And it's also telling black people under Cory Booker that there is an ocean out there of black kids that are drowning. But the charter schools have come along through this Wall Street effort and said, but we only have enough lifeboat for a certain amount of students. And if we're gonna put those certain amount of students in the lifeboat and the rest of the students can sink, we cannot continue to fund reform at the expense of other children's lives. They have to change. We have to come up with a new funding formula. If the state wants charter, then let the state find a way to pay for it. You can't take it from our school. And then to turn around, Madam Chair, and through this One North plan for parents who want to bring their children back and tell them that under the contract with the union that you cannot bring the children back, while at the same time you're saying we don't have enough money. It's ludicrous. But parents have to get to the point in Newark that we have to understand it's not my child versus your child or your child versus my child. We have to stop that part of it. We're not angry with the charter school parents. We're not angry with you. We're angry with these folks who come in here and make millions and billions and billions and billions of dollars off of your back while telling you that it's reform. It's not reform.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
In closing, it's their form of segregation.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Next speaker, Lyndon Brown, followed by Wilhelmina Holder, Cheryl Crawford.
Good evening, Lyndon Brown, 220 South 6th Street in Newark.
Good evening.
I want to respond to a Facebook post that I saw on yesterday, and simply to say that Newark Public Schools need to do better at promoting and celebrating its achievements. The athletic achievements of our students, academic, the community service projects. We have state champions in Newark Public Schools. We have students who are receiving numerous college acceptances and scholarships. We have a lot going on in our schools, and we don't promote that. And we need to start doing a better job of promoting our brand, what's going on in Newark Public Schools. If we don't want people to highlight the negative achievements, then we need to highlight what's going on in a positive manner. The park preparation has been missing in action in many of our schools, in particularly our renewed schools, some who offered no park preparation at all, even with 5% proficiency on the last test. I am also appealing to you tonight on behalf of an ESL student at Barringer Steam. He's been in the hallways for several months because he doesn't speak any English. He's in classes where there's no one to help him with his bilingual education. He has an aide, of course, but the aide does not speak any Spanish, so that he is in a situation where he's been in the school for quite some time. His mother's at the school every day trying to get him a bilingual aide. She does not want him transferred out of the school. She wants him to get the type of services that he is entitled to, and that is a bilingual aide so that he can understand what's going on in the classroom. We have about 40 days left in the school year, and the school year has been wasted trying to get an education and have his education in his own language interpreted. We've had some violent attacks this past week at American History High School. I had some students show me the violent attacks on Snapchat and their phones. 3 or 4 fights last week. They were near riots. Central High School, Newark Prep, Westside High School also have had some issues. Eagle Academy, which needs to be dismantled ASAP. They're not getting the social supports that they need, and we need to make sure that those students are placed back in general population so they can get the education and supports that they need. All of our schools in Newark public schools should be community schools. The student incidents, the tardiness and absences are increasing, and I attribute these incidents to a lack of security and to the university enrollment plan, because our students are going into communities that they don't know, they're not familiar with, and they're engaged in altercations with students that they don't know in those communities. So we need to get all of our schools back under local control, and our students should be able to go to the schools in their own communities if they choose to. Last week we had a child who walked out of 13th Avenue School with special needs child, so we need more security at the school, around our schools, so that our children are safeguarded. And my final topic is about the student rejections. Many of our high school students have been rejected from colleges and scholarship organizations because the guidance counselors either submitted their transcripts late or not at all, or other parts of their admissions packets were incomplete or not submitted. We need a director of guidance. We need to make sure that our students all register. If we talk about being college and career ready, that we should not have multiple students who never took an SAT or who never filled out one college application this in their senior year. We need a director of guidance in new public schools, and if we need to get rid of a few consultants and some assistant superintendents, we need to do that. If we need to get rid of some consultants or some assistant superintendents in order to hire a director of guidance, then that's what we need to do. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Wilhelmina Holder, followed by Cheryl Crawford. And she will be followed by Janice Reedus.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. We need to do a lot of things. The first thing we need to do, the board, is to get a resolution about State Street schools so that we can preserve our history. The board needs to write a resolution saying that State Street schools should be removed from the on-sale list so that we can preserve the history of Newark Public School and the city of Newark and the Newark greater community. That is imperative. Now, I need everyone to do that. I need everyone to join in that effort. Everyone to have some balls and join in the effort, because you need to do what's right. I didn't vote for some of you, and I think you know it. So now my eyes gonna be on you. I think we also need some help with the young lady who was banned. I hope you do follow it up, Madam Chair, because no way in Hades should we be banning students from a board meeting. The students have a right to speak. They have a right to exercise their First Rights Amendment. They have a right to civil disobedience. And how dare we as a learning institution and you as board members not do anything about it? Now, this is 2 days old. Don't worry about who's going to be the president. Worry about the rights of the children, and make sure that's done today before you leave those seats, that student is allowed to come back into this arena, because it could be my grandchild next, and I'm going to have your head if that happens, because I encourage the children to speak up and speak for themselves. Number 3, late policy. How dare we talk about late policy, suspending kids when the buildings aren't open if the children come late? Let the children in the building, Barringer High School. If they're late, deal with them and find out why they are late. Stop banning children to the streets if they are late. One Newark enrollment must be dismantled, because you don't give them bus tickets, you don't give them support when they get to the building. No one cares why the children are late. If they're walking their siblings to school, somebody's going to be on time and somebody's going to be late. The other thing we need to know, how many seniors are graduating, people? How many seniors are graduating? How many have passed the park exam? How many are in the appeal process school by school? I'm going to wait until you listen, because I don't think anyone's listening.
Excuse me, Ms. Holder. Let me just say, and I don't usually, speak at this time, but it's not that we weren't listening. It's that the side conversation was about what you were talking about the banned students. I just want to explain that, and I apologize.
Thank you. I want the children to be in the buildings. We can deal with them when they're late.
They need to be supported, not suspended. And that's why we have to get community schools, and that's why we have to have, after 29 years of failed policies run by the NJDOE, we have to have return to local control. 29 years, and some of the board members are sitting up there, was there when the state came in. So now they're back like bad pennies. We have to have,
Thank you, Ms. Holder.
we have to have return to local control, and it has to be done now. And every school must be a community school, because I want our children to go to Stanford, Yale,
Thank you, Ms.
Harvard,
Holder.
Essex County, or wherever they want to go.
Thank you.
And we need guidance department chair as well. Thank you.
Ms. Holder, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Cheryl Crawford, followed by Janice Reedus, followed by Veronica Branch.
Good evening. This is Cheryl Crawford, retired ELA teacher and coach. I want to say congratulations to Tony. I'm very proud of you, and I know you'll do a wonderful job. Usually every month that I come to speak to you guys, I'm always talking about the guidance counselors in Newark. We need guidance directors. Somebody has to start monitoring what they're doing in these schools. A parent saw me in a store and shared with me that when she was at Barringer High School, a guidance counselor was telling her daughter that the schools are dangerous in Newark. Newark is a dangerous city. When she is going to Newark and back to go home, she has her windows up. She doesn't want to be caught in the streets alone. She says it's a dangerous city. How does someone work in our district and say that to our children? If you guys had a director, the mother could have gone and spoken to the director. Every time I come, I'm saying to you, we need someone monitoring what our guidance counselors are doing or not doing for our children. It's just not right. I am begging you, please get a director of guidance so that our children will be directed in the right way. And the last thing I want to talk about, I have a granddaughter in one of the high schools. I saw her report card, and this is after the second quarter, and she had a lot of tardies. I called the school. I wanted to speak to someone because I wanted to go and find out why she was late to her classes, 2 particular classes. I was told by the clerk that someone would get back to me. No one got back to me. So I went to the school. I told the clerk that I wanted to see my granddaughter in action. I wanted to sit in on her classes. The clerk told me, we don't do that at this school. I'm a retired teacher. I would love to have parents, family members come to the classroom to see what their children are doing. I sat 10 minutes in the office until the second clerk asked me what was my granddaughter's name. I was treated like I was an alien. I should not have been there. They came and told me, oh, the principal doesn't have time to meet with you. I didn't want to meet with the principal. I wanted to see my granddaughter in action. Fortunate for me, a good guidance counselor happened to walk in. She made an appointment for me to sit in on my granddaughter's 2 classes where she's late a lot. The teachers were happy to see me, but my reception the day before was not right. I just was ignored, and I don't think our school should be acting like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Janice Reedus, Veronica Branch, Donna Jackson,
Good morning, Donna Jackson, 128 Smith Street. Ain't too happy, but congratulations anyway. Because this is the Newark Public School Board, and I don't make any bones about it. I'm tired of charter school people coming up here. So what I'm gonna do next year is I'm gonna get 3 North Public School parents, and trust me, they will be NPS parents, and I'm gonna run them for the Team Academy Board. I'm gonna run them for North Star Board. I'm gonna run them for the People Prep Board. I'm gonna put some North Public School people on the charter school boards, and let's see how that work out. Let's see when we start coming to the charter school meetings, since all of them have a surplus, let's see when public school parents start coming to the charter school meetings, if we can't get some of those dollars that they are holding in surplus back over to the children who need them. I was so glad to finally see parents of the charter school begin to tell the truth, something I've been talking about for over 10 years. I was so glad to see the North Star parent who resides in East Orange, Superintendent Surf, East Orange, talk about how her son has attended North Star for the last 4 to 5 years for free. I was good to finally see a parent talk about all of the negative discipline that goes on in those corporate buildings and the effect that it was having on her child. We at Newark Public Schools are not interested in any way, shape, form, or fashion with degrading, with constantly enforcing negative reinforcement on our children. We understand what we have. We understand what they need. All we asking for is equity. So, Superintendent Surf, I'm going to ask you again, as I did at the October business meeting, I hope this is a part of your budget plan for tomorrow. I requested that you do an out-of-district and residency check of all charter schools. Because I understand they're your friends, I know why you haven't done it, but I would like the people that live in Montclair, Cedar Grove, Plainfield, East Orange, Irvington, New York, and other places to pay for their children to be here, and then maybe I won't have such a budget deficit at Newark Public Schools. We are in the middle of hell. You are now talking about laying off more staff when we don't have enough staff to do what we need to do. We don't want to use the approach that the charter schools do, that they don't have anybody to take care of children when they're in crisis, because they don't, because I do discipline hearings there as well. And their staff's approach is not the approach we want to lose. We use TLC in Newark Public Schools. It's called Tender Love and Care. We have committed staff at Newark Public Schools. Unfortunately, Commissioner Surf, when you were the commissioner, you forced us to take many of these Teach for America people who are only in the system to get their student loans paid. I'm not going to say all of them. We have gathered some very good people from Teach for America, but for the most part, when you have to pay a $5,000 administrative fee to Teach for America every time we take one of those teachers, I wonder what is the end result. Are we paying off the student loan with our $5,000 fee, or how is that working out? Sounds like a hedge
Thank you, Ms.
scam
Jackson.
to me. So in closing, please let me say this, and Ms. Baskerville, I'm not going to be disrespectful, but this needs to be said.
Ms. Jackson, just please make it quick, because you don't take a breath. I've been trying to wait for you to take one, so please close. Thank you.
Commissioner Superintendent Surf, I need Nia to be in school. She is still not in school. We have found her out-of-district placement. It has taken too long. She has now become violent again because she's not in school. And today at Marin School, a child was accosted inside the building with a BB gun. I'm not going to continue to let Miss Ortiz over at Luis Marin ride with immunity. She has got to
Ms.
go.
Jackson,
and I
thank
will do
you
what I
very
have
much.
to do to get Miss Ortiz out of Luis Marin.
Ms. Jackson, we will need the details on what you're talking about. So after the meeting, if we could get those, please. Next speaker, Jaleesa Vasquez, followed by Sheila Montague and Erica, I believe it's Lage. Jaleesa Vasquez, Sheila Montague, Erica Lage. Next speaker, Patricia, I'm sorry, who? Okay, I'm sorry. It is, the lighting in here is really terrible. My glasses are old and dirty.
Good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening.
My name is Erica Lahe, 81 Fillmore Street.
Lahe, I'm
parent
sorry.
Of 3 children at Wilson Avenue School. First, I would like to say I'm here on behalf of the parents who are concerned about the issue with the lead in the water. We have a petition that we've started. We currently have over 700 signatures because we want our questions answered and we want our children's water safe. We want a solution for ensuring students access to clean water now and in the future. I recently was looking over the NPS lead water testing sample plan dated March 2016 that you currently have on your website. And some interesting things I've noticed. Under the remediation plan, it talks about what steps are taken when high lead levels occur. It stated that there's shutoffs of certain fountains and faucets, and that signs are posted. And even in some instances, there's a brief flush of the system to alleviate or remediate any lead in the system. But what the plan doesn't say is, what happens if that doesn't work? What about replacing the pipes? Wilson Avenue School is over 130 years old. I mean, lead pipes are probably prevalent throughout the entire building. So that was my first interesting note, and it's not anywhere noted in your plan about what those additional steps would be taken. It also doesn't state in your plan timeframes in which any additional remediation would occur. 30, 60, what is the time frame? What I also noticed is the plan states that once the lab results are taken, a lab has 24 hours to provide the results to Newark Public Schools. It also states that Newark Public Schools have to provide the results to the EPA in 24 hours. But what the interesting part is, the part that's missing, where's the accountability of Newark Public Schools to provide the information to the parents? It's not there. The parents have a right to know, and the stuff has to be made publicly available to the parents in a timely fashion. One of the problems with the schools too is there is no budget for maintenance in the plan. No budget for maintenance. How can that possibly be when you have schools that are over 130 years old? I don't get the oil changed in my car, it might not run in another couple of months. Maintenance is key. Our children deserve safe drinking water. And I encourage all of you who are still here to sign the petition. Let other people know that we have a petition, and we need to get this addressed. I respectfully request that you amend your plan to include some additional information. And I would also like to address one additional thing. The predominant population of the Newark Public School System may be black, I agree. But there is also a very prevalent Spanish-speaking population here that is not being accommodated at any of your meetings. I would also like to request that something be considered for that in the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, Patricia Castillo, Mercedes Chimbano, Paul Duarte.
Buenas noches con todos los presentes que están aquí. Soy hispana y represento al grupo hispano. Así como hispana, que estoy hablando ahora en español, mi voto va para ustedes también. Cuando son elecciones, cuando me llaman por teléfono para que vote por etcétera persona, así como doy mis votos, nosotros queremos soluciones aquí en las escuelas de Newark.
Good. I'm going to be translating here for Patricia.
Thank you.
Good evening to everyone. I want to congratulate the new members of the board. And I am a Latina woman, and that's the reason I'll be speaking tonight in Spanish to you. The Hispanic community also votes for the Board of Education, and we also expect for you to represent us.
Estoy preocupada por la situación del plomo en el agua de las tuberías de los niños y mi pregunta es, ¿cómo en Estados Unidos, un país mundial, un país potente, un país desarrollado, tengamos que estar parados ahora mismo para la solución de las tuberías en las escuelas?
We are demanding that you fix and replace the pipes in the schools that are affecting with the lead issue. And I want to ask a question of how is it possible that we are here in the United States of America, a powerful country, a developed country, and we are being asked, and we are, have this situation of wondering about lead in the water and our children being poisoned.
Nosotros necesitamos una solución. Yo quiero pedirle de favor al señor superintendente que trate de arreglar este problema, porque los niños son el futuro del mañana. Ellos son el progreso de este país.
So we need a solution. I'm asking the superintendent, what is the solution? Our children are the future. Our children are the future of tomorrow, and our children will be the progress that we need to see. So we need a solution for the pipes.
También les quiero recalcar que así como nosotros, los latinos, tenemos poder para votar por todos ustedes, y nosotros estamos mirando que la ciudad de Newark va creciendo, va desarrollando. Cuando hay después de unas nevadas, las calles son arregladas, los edificios están siendo nuevos, están poniendo lugares turísticos para aumentar el capital aquí en Newark. De esa misma manera que nosotros estamos viendo el progreso de Newark, nosotros queremos ver el progreso en los buildings de las escuelas. La educación es muy importante en este país.
So again, us Latinos, we also vote for you. We have a lot of power, and what we want to see is progress in education. I noticed that there's a lot of new improvements going on in Newark. I noticed that the downtown is being built with touristic, arrangements, and lots of new things are happening in Newark, and we need to see education as a priority in this city.
Muchas gracias, y pues nosotros necesitamos una solución, especialmente a la Wilson School. El building está viejo. Necesitamos renovación por nuestros niños.
So thank you very much for hearing me tonight, and once again, we need a solution, especially at Wilson Avenue School, which is a very old school. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I would want to just take a minute and allow Ms. Fonseca to comment at this time.
Señora Castillo, y al grupo que está aquí, latino, que hablan español, primeramente le quiero dar las gracias por estar aquí esta noche, y le quiero dar un gran respeto porque ustedes han decidido hablar en español y no hacer el sacrificio, porque yo sé que ustedes también están apoyando a nosotros, y yo tomo en cuenta eso de parte de una latina a la comunidad latina. Sí le quiero decir que yo he tomado nota de lo que ha dicho señora Castillo, y lo próximo que hablen también, y yo voy a asegurar que mañana por la mañana yo mande un email al distrito para que ellos acomoden y se aseguren que hay una persona que venga a traducir lo que ustedes están diciendo, porque todo el mundo debe de entender lo que ustedes están diciendo, y yo me voy a asegurar que yo haga una nota de eso mañana, seguramente por la mañana. Sorry. Briefly, I just wanted to thank the Latino community for coming out tonight, and I wanted to give them a big up of respect, because it takes a bold person that doesn't speak English to stand up there and say what they had to say. Me being a Latina on the board, I will make it my business to first thing tomorrow morning send out an email to the district to make sure that we do have somebody to translate for our people. When we speak for one, we speak for all. There's no color, there's no language. We are here to represent everyone. So I wanted to make sure that I acknowledge that, especially knowing how inconvenienced it can be when you're trying to say something about your child and there's no support. So I just wanted to acknowledge that on behalf of us, because I believe that we are all sharing that vision when we want to hear what everybody has to say.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mercedes Chimbano.
Muy buenas noches. Pues primeramente les pido mil disculpas a los señores que no puedo hacer entender en español, pero pues no hablo inglés. Soy una inmigrante latina. Mi mayor preocupación es porque detectaron el plomo en la escuela Wilson Avenue.
Good evening. First of all, I want to apologize for the members of the board who don't understand me speaking in Spanish, but I don't have a choice because I don't speak English. My main concern is about lead in the water at Wilson Avenue School.
Les pido como un problema de mayor preocupación el señor superintendente que lo ponga, o sea, no queremos que los niños sigan tomando o bebiendo esa agua. Eso es lo más lo que yo me preocupo como madre de familia. Por lo tanto, hemos reunido firmas para poder pues que la escuela Wilson Avenue se mejore.
So my main concern is about the lead in the water. I'm asking that the superintendent creates this as a priority. We need to make sure that our children are drinking clean water. And we have been collecting signatures of all the parents at the school to show how important this is to all of us.
Muchísimas gracias y pues espero que lo pongan de mayor preocupación. Gracias.
Thank you very much, and I hope that you put this as a top priority.
Gracias. I can say that. Next speaker, Paul Duarte.
Present. All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Congrats to all the members of the board. Apparently, this is my first time to any kind of meeting of Board of Education. And I'm coming from Wilson Avenue School. I had two daughters at Wilson Avenue School. And I'm really concerned about my health of my daughters because they are the future of this country. I just have a few questions. Who's responsible for this situation in the water in the schools? Who's going to take control of this situation in the schools for the water? We parents, we need immediate results. And how this situation will be found. Is there be a fix for this problem in schools? When is going to be fixed? Because the year school is ending in 2 months. After that, I don't know what's going to happen. What's the plan? What's the plan for detecting the symptoms of the water issues in schools? And that's what I have to say today. And to all my friends over here, we've been doing this for a couple weeks to resolve this issue. That's it. And my problem too is make sure you take a facts action of this problem.
Thank you. Mr. Duarte, I'm sorry, are you finished?
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay, so thank you. So we have not too many speakers left. At the end of the speakers, the superintendent will address your question on the water, and at that time, board members who have any comment on any of the speakers will do so at that time. So you will get a response from the superintendent this evening regarding the water. Next speaker, Rosa Pizarro. followed by Kevin Vega.
Buenas noches,
Buenas
señoras
noches.
autoridades aquí presentes y también señores que han venido a esta auditoría. Quisiera darles las gracias, primeramente, por permitirme hacer llegar mi voz hacia ustedes.
Good evening, everyone. To all the officials on stage and to everyone in the auditorium, I would like to thank you for being here to hear my voice.
Estoy aquí por el problema que ha sucedido en la escuela, en la escuela de Newark. Soy una madre de familia de la escuela Wilson Avenue. Tengo ahí mi niño, mi hijo y mi nieta. Y me hace demasiado doloroso ver que los niños lleven desde su casa el agua, algo que es primordial para la salud de ellos.
I am a mother of someone at Wilson Avenue School. I'm here to speak about the issue of the water in Newark schools. I am a mother of someone at Wilson Avenue School, and I also have a grandson at Wilson Avenue School. And it is deeply, deeply painful to me to see that the water is in danger. That is something that is of most, priority for us, and it's very deep. It's primordial.
Tengo entendido que este problema se ha venido dando durante años atrás. Yo no entiendo cómo, si es una escuela en la que abarca muchos niños, ¿por qué no se ha dado una solución más neutral? Algo que nos lleve a tener esto una larga duración de la escuela. Entonces mi petición va a ver si hay como la posibilidad de que sea cambiada toda lo que es la tubería para salvaguardar la salud de los niños.
So it's my understanding that this issue has been going on for a very long time. It's something that's developed over years and years, and I don't understand how there is not a solution in place when there are so many students being affected by this issue.
Y con esto también les tengo una pregunta. ¿Hasta cuándo nuestros niños van a estar con agua de emergencia?
I would like to know, for how long will we be drinking this emergency water?
La agua que ahora mismo consumen es producto de las donaciones.
Right now they are drinking donated water.
Y como ustedes están más atentos a lo que yo mismo sé, también estamos viendo ya mismo aquí el verano. ¿Y hasta cuándo van a hacer llegar las pomas de agua para que nuestros niños beban agua, digamos, sana y buena, por la razón de que una botella se calienta y no van a tener a tiempo a ponerle todas las botellas que puedan a las neveras?
So, as you know more than I do about this issue, I am here to ask you, how long will it be until we are drinking clean, healthy water? Summer is coming, and the water will be heating up. It's not going to be possible to refrigerate all this water. And are you expecting our children to drink hot water out of plastic bottles?
Les agradezco por la atención prestada y quisiera darle mi más sincero agradecimiento a la niña que nos habló en español. Muchísimas gracias. Es algo que se lleva dentro, porque nosotros también los hispanos tenemos corazón y sabemos hablar y expresarnos lo que sentimos. Gracias.
I want to thank you, and I would like to thank the board member who spoke to us in Spanish. I felt it deeply, and Latinos have heart, and so we felt that very deeply. We want to thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Next speaker, Kevin Vega.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Vega.
Hello, Kevin.
I came here to ask you to please change the pipes of the school because the kids need to drink water. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you. What a brave young man. Thank you so much. Next speaker, Florence Swan, followed by Jesus Romero, followed by Jose Romero. Is Florence Swan here? Jesus Romero? Jose Romero?
Buenas noches a todos los presentes y en especial al señor superintendente de la ciudad de Newark. Como madre de familia de la escuela Wilson Avenue, traigo la voz de todos los padres de familia pidiéndole una solución inmediata al problema del plomo.
Good evening to everyone who is present tonight, especially to the superintendent. I am bringing to you the voice of all the parents from Wilson Avenue School, and we are demanding an immediate response to the issue of lead in our schools.
No puedo creer que viviendo en un país que es la primera potencia del mundo, nuestros niños atraviesen este problema de estar llevando agua de la casa para beber en las escuelas. ¿Acaso nosotros no pagamos impuestos? ¿Acaso no tenemos derecho de reclamar por nuestros niños? ¿O acaso por ser hispanos nosotros no tenemos la importancia que tiene el resto de niños? No, señor intendente, por favor, póngale solución.
I ask you how it's possible in the most powerful country in the world that we have to take water from our homes and send it to school with our children. Maybe is it because we don't pay taxes? No. Maybe it's actually because as Latinos, we are not seen as important as other people. And so this is happening to us. We are requesting an immediate response.
Señor intendente, la solución más acertada sería cambiar todo el sistema de plomería de todas las escuelas del Newark. Aprovechemos que los niños van a salir de vacaciones y hagamos que para el nuevo electivo sea que vengan los niños a beber agua sin plomo.
So we are demanding a solution, and we say that right now we can take advantage of the fact that we are approaching summertime and the students will not be in the schools. Why then would you not replace all of the pipes in the school so that when students return in the fall, they could be drinking fresh water?
Señor intendente, vivimos en el estado Jardín. El jardín de este estado está compuesto por las escuelas. Las plantas son nuestros niños. Y si nosotros regamos plantas con agua contaminada, nuestros jardines se mueren, señor intendente.
Mr. Superintendent, we live in the Garden State, and the plants in our garden are our students. If we feed contaminated water to our plants, they will die, and our whole garden will die.
Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí oyéndonos nuestras quejas que deberían haber sido solucionadas en años anteriores. Buenas noches, señor intendente, esperando que solucione este problema para el año que viene. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much for hearing us tonight, for giving time to this solution that should have been solved years ago to a problem that has been going on for many years. Thank you again for hearing us tonight.
Thank you.
Señora, ¿cuál era su nombre? La señora que habló ahora de última, ¿cuál era el nombre de ella?
Jesús Romero.
No, la primera, la señora que habló ahora mismo. Jesús Romero, usted. Ok, gracias.
Next speaker, Celestine Swain. No, I called Jose Romero. I'm sorry, I apologize. I cannot see well in here. I'm sorry, young man.
Buenas tardes, superintendente. Yo vengo desde la Wilson Avenue, guiado por mis compañeros, a pedirle honestamente que arregle las tuberías, porque muchas escuelas se están cerrando por el plomo y se están perdiendo las educaciones de niños, haciendo que cuando sean grandes no sean nada en la vida.
Good evening. I am Jose Romero. I come from Wilson Avenue School. Good evening, Mr. Superintendent. I am here to ask you that you change the pipes in our schools because schools are closing over lead, and this is a very important issue.
Y yo no me pienso detener hasta que mi escuela se quede curada del plomo. Voy a hacer todo lo posible para hacer que se cure y voy a hacer todo lo que me pidan para hacer que la vida de los niños sea una vida mejor.
I will not rest until the issue of lead is dealt with. I will do everything that I possibly can to see that there is a solution to the issue of lead in schools.
Y yo no quiero que nos estén enviando esas botellas de agua. Yo ya quiero que mi escuela sea como una escuela normal de todas las escuelas. Y como dijo mi mami, que son como jardines, las flores son como nuestros niños. Y si nosotros regamos con esa agua, las flores se rompen y desaparecen, dañando poco a poco, como va a estar dañándose las escuelas.
I don't want to drink bottled water in my school. I want my school to be a normal school. And like my mother said, we are like the flowers. And if we do not get healthy water, the flowers will be stepped on, and the gardens will disappear.
Y yo le pido una respuesta inmediata para decirles a mis compañeros su respuesta. Y espero que el arreglo de las tuberías sea muy pronto, porque nosotros los niños no estamos soportando, porque algunos de mis aulas se olvidan las botellas y se quedan sin beber agua, muriéndose de sed todo el día. Por eso le pido que arregle pronto las tuberías para nosotros poder ser niños felices como en cualquier otra escuela normal. ¿Sí?
We are requesting an immediate response. We are asking that you replace all of the pipes. We want to be normal, happy children. And so that is why we need an immediate response to this issue. Oh, and he also said that when the students, if you forget your water at home and you don't bring water, you can have to pass the whole day thirsty and not able to drink any water, which is a terrible problem.
Y muchas gracias por escucharme.
And thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. Next speaker, Celestine Swain. No, that's who that was. That's what the lady. Next speaker, Jody Pittman, followed by the final speaker for this evening, Willie Rowe. Is Ms. Pittman here? Willie Rowe, good evening.
Good evening, board members, new board members. Got a lot to say. I'm gonna try to do it fast. First, I'd like to say we need the money taken out of the Bruce Street School and George Washington Carver School budget to be reinstated. $600,000 from George Washington Carver and $400,000 for Bruce Street. This will undermine the performance of the students in the school by depriving them of necessary services and a thorough and efficient education as the state constitution requires. Our school's performance on state tests for the last 3 years has been dismal and been affected by these cuts in the budget. We need certified teachers in math and English language arts and special needs teachers for students with individual education plans, not uncertified substitutes of teachers. We need a gifted and talented teacher certified in multiple grades to serve as multiple grades in the class. This teacher would also serve to supplement teaching and learning for those students not meeting the expectations of proficiency. This instructor must be familiar with the curriculum and be able to do project-based learning. Also need a STEM teacher to teach science for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. These two teachers can be utilized to cut down on the substitutes when there are absences. These teachers must also be culturally competent. We need 2 certified vice principals and not an uncertified on-the-job training chief innovation officer. They too must be culturally competent. These administrators will assist with discipline, security, which is a problem at this school, supervision, teacher issues, professional development, teacher assessments, observations, post-observations, and annual evaluations. The new teachers need support, conference with teachers, and teach model lessons. We anticipate an increased enrollment in the school with our community-based outreach. Central office has used an invalid measurement of promoting their fallacy of decreased enrollments next year. The only way our school enrollment decreases is through the one Newark diversion of students to charter schools and not letting parents make their own real choice. We will have more than 500 students next year. The deceptive measurement of anticipated student enrollment is a pretext, just like the alleged algorithms that were used to hire teachers and displace our culturally competent and certified teachers into a pool of employees without placement because they would not blindly sign away their contract rights for chump change. The U.S. Census reported that Newark in Essex County is one of the few places in the state which has had an increase in population. So how can Mr. Cerf and his staff say the population is going to decrease? You can go online, the U.S. Census will show you the growth of the Newark population. We also need classes next year scheduled to be cut to be reinstated. We need all our kindergarten classes, 1st grade classes, 3rd grade classes, and 6th grade classes. Any cuts in class will result in overcrowding classes with the increased enrollment expected. Probably another.
Mr. Roque, if you could please finish up.
Yes, ma'am. Lastly, I support Dr. Marion Bolden's initiative to collect Newark schools' history and for it to be stored and archived at the State Street School and not sell any of our schools at all. Lastly, and our requests are not met, we will take back our carrot and utilize the community stick. We will recall school board members. We will also boycott the park exam here and spread it all over Newark.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
This will be nothing like one Newark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That ends public participation for this evening. Board members, I just want to remind you to please turn in. You received 2 forms this evening, a turquoise blue and a green form. Please turn those in to me this evening. At this point in the agenda, the superintendent, would like to respond to the speakers with the concerns and the questions about the lead and the water, and after that we will move. What I would like to do, board members, is to combine old and new business with any responses that we have to board members after the superintendent speaks in response to the water.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to respond, and Madam Vice Chair, if you would be gracious enough to help translate my comments, I would appreciate it very much. The first thing I want to say to the parents of Wilson Street School, Wilson Avenue, apologize if the evening is late, to Wilson Avenue School, is that I deeply value and appreciate your being here and the passion of your very important comments.
Primeramente le quiere dar la gracia a los padres que vinieron de Wilson Avenue School. Él le agradece que ustedes han salido esta noche por su pasión y todo lo que ustedes han tomado hoy para decirle a él.
You have asked that we make the addressing of the lead issue a priority. I assure you it is a priority.
Ustedes han dicho esta noche que ustedes quieren asegurar que hemos tomado la situación con el plomo en la agua como una prioridad y él quiere asegurarle a todo que él ha tomado esto como una prioridad.
I am personally grateful that someone who is an expert on this subject has joined the board tonight, and that is Ms. Gaddy, and we look forward to benefiting from her professional expertise on a topic she has been involved in for many years.
También quiere tomar que él está agradecido porque después de la elección hemos tomado un miembro de este equipo que se llama Kim Gaddy. Ella es una profesional en esta área, específicamente es parte de su carrera y él está muy agradecido porque ahora él puede tomar ella como un acompañado para ayudar en esta situación.
Now, there are many myths about what is happening with respect to the lead in the water. I have made every effort to get information out. I have been to community meetings in, I believe, every ward. I have put things up on the website. I have communicated with city council members, with the mayor's office, and others. And if that information is not making its way to you, I invite the folks who spoke here tonight from Wilson Street to join me in my office, and I would be glad to sit with you and give you all the details we have about this important situation.
El señor Surf dice que hay muchas historias, no quiero decir mentiras, pero muchas historias que están pasando del plomo en la agua y él ha tomado toda oportunidad para asegurar que la información filtre por nuestra ciudad, sea en el internet, mandando cartas para las escuelas, trabajando con los consejeros de nuestra ciudad y el alcalde, y si esa información no le ha llegado a ustedes, él extiende una invitación a ustedes para que ustedes vayan para la oficina de él y él pueda darle esa información directamente a ustedes si no se le ha llegado a su mano.
Assistant Superintendent Leon, if you would raise your hand, will happily assist you in making that appointment. But I do want to answer your question very quickly. I learned about this situation in early March. The situation has been in existence at least back until 2003, and Ms. Gaddy has educated me that it goes back even further. When I learned about this situation, I concluded several things. First, we have to put the safety of children first, and therefore we must immediately turn off access to water at every school that is affected. Second, do you want to
Sir?
translate? Yes, I'm sorry, Ms. Fonseca.
Él dice que el señor León que levantó la mano para ustedes tomar, si quieren asegurar de aceptar su invitación de verlo, se pueden juntar con el señor León y él asegura que ustedes tomen la información que necesiten para esa invitación. Y quiere también decir que él ha estado informado del plomo en la agua desde marzo, pero después de, tú sabes, buscar la información y todo, dicen que esto va hasta el 2003 hasta ahora. Pero aparte de eso, con la señora Gaddy, como él dijo que ella tiene experiencia en esto y ha estado trabajando en esto, ella dice que esto ha estado pasando mucho más antes que el 2003. Esto es una situación que tiene muchos años. Pero primeramente, antes de hacer cualquier cosa, su prioridad es la seguridad de todos los niños en las escuelas. Por eso es que él tomó la primera decisión de apagar toda la agua después que tuvieron los resultados de lo que está pasando, porque primeramente él se tiene que asegurar que los niños estén bien.
Secondly, I decided that the policies of the past 14 years were not successful or appropriate, and those policies immediately changed. One, we went public with all of the details. Two, we shut off all the water at the affected sites. And three, we decided not to rely on general directives to change filters and flush the waters. I did not think that was good enough.
Okay. El señor Surf dice que lo que estaba impuesto hace 14 años, los métodos que ellos tenían para arreglar esta situación en estos pasados 14 años no han arreglado la situación. Entonces, él inmediatamente cambió esa meta y empezó, número 1, para poner los resultados públicos. Número 2, apagar toda la agua. Y número 3, no depender de las decisiones generales de lo que se tiene que hacer en cambiando los tubos inmediatamente, sino él quiere tomar todo que hay que tomar en cuenta antes de tomar acción.
Since Newark identified this issue a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and you probably don't need to translate this, all of these cities have indicated that they have a similar problem. It is not unique to Newark. Hoboken, New York City, 732 schools have not even been tested. Elizabeth, Hamilton, Patterson, Passaic, Baltimore, Camden, Jersey City, New York, Buffalo, Ithaca, all across the East Coast. This is not a problem that is unique to Newark.
Él dice que hace 6 semanas, cuando esto primeramente vino para su escritorio, él entiende que esto no nada más está pasando en la ciudad de Newark, sino está pasando en todas las ciudades que él mencionó, y que entonces hay un problema en general con todo, con Nueva York y todas las otras ciudades que él mencionó, pero la única diferencia es que ellos nos mandaron a hacer exámenes para los niños, para examinarlos si tienen plomo en el sistema.
You are entirely right that the long-term solution involves changing the pipes or installing engineering solutions to fix the problem once and for all.
Él está de acuerdo totalmente a mucho de lo que ustedes dijeron, que la solución en tema larga es cambiar todos los pipes. I lost my train of thought. Toda la tubería, perdón. Toda la tubería, tú sabes, finalmente, eso es lo que quieren hacer en la tema larga para resolver este problema en total.
We are engaging an engineering firm and consulting with national experts, including the Department of Environmental Protection, but this cannot be done overnight. It takes time, and it probably will take many, many, many millions of dollars, possibly billions.
Él lo dijo, no yo, pero nada más para que ustedes sepan. Él dijo que él está asegurarse que él tenga relaciones con expertos nacionales, inclusive también con el Departamento de Protección de la Naturaleza, environmental, no sé, creo que esa es la palabra correcta. Y él está diciendo que esto no es una cosa que se puede cambiar de una noche a otro, pero sino que va a tomar millones o a lo mejor billones de dólares para poder arreglar esto.
I promise you I will keep you informed as these plans develop. Let me just say I share your urgency that this is a complete priority. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Superintendent Cerf. We are now going to open the floor. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
El señor Surf dijo para cerrar que él le promete a ustedes asegurar que ustedes tengan la información de todo lo que se empieza a seguir haciendo y lo que a ustedes le ha informado, porque según eso es una urgencia para ustedes, así es para él. Nada más le quiero decir que por favor asegúrense de ver al señor León para que ustedes tomen la fecha para ir donde él, para que se le explique más claramente y con más tiempo todo lo que ellos han visto de los resultados. Le exhorto que hagan eso, ¿ok?
Thank you. At this time, we're going to move into both old and new business and any comments that board members may have in response to board speakers. Because the hour is late, we're not going to put the clock on for board members, but I would like to gently suggest if we can limit the time on our comments to approximately 3 or so minutes each. And before we speak, I would like to just take a second to recognize former special assistant to Dr. Bolden. I think that's Dr. Lindgren back there. All right. Thank you for coming out to the meeting this evening. And Ms. Gaddy?
Yeah, I just wanted to make some quick remarks to all of the speakers who spoke to the issues of lead. And I do want to state that I'm looking forward to working with our superintendent on this issue. It is a serious issue, and bottled water is not the answer. Bottled water is not safe. The plastic that this water is in, depending on how long it's been sitting in people's cars, more contamination is in this than we know. So this is a temporary solution. Bottled water is not meant to be the solution. But as was stated, to fix the actual piping, because our water that comes from the Wanakee and the Pequannock up in West Milford is safe drinking water. I want people to understand that. It is a piping and an infrastructure issue, right? Our schools are old. And so we have to come up with a comprehensive facility infrastructure inventories of our drinking fountains, our bottle filters, and other tap water delivery options in all of our school buildings, not just some of the ones out of 37 that tested positive for lead, all of our school buildings. And then we must conduct periodic follow-up assessments to ensure that our building plumbing meets the latest standards, okay? The latest standards. And as was stated, there is an actual report because I work for a national organization, Clean Water Action. We are the organization that established the Clean Water Act in 1972. We are an organization that lobbies at a state level and nationally. So you best believe that I will be on top of this issue. But there is a report that I want to make sure I get to Molly and Drew from ICC to disseminate it to the parents. It's called Managing Lead in Drinking Water. It was put out by the Kellogg Foundation. It has a lot of the top districts around the country and some of the solutions that they instituted at those schools. And so this is something we don't have to reinvent a wheel. This is documentation that is already out there that is readily accessible to the district. Before I go on to one more point, I must state that in the early 90s, the district did know about lead in the drinking water. And so this has been a problem for over 20 years. If they would have started addressing that issue back then, a third of our buildings probably would not have this situation, okay? And then lastly, I want to state that we must also develop a transparent communication plan for the public explaining the details of the lead testing and remediation program. That will empower the parents, that will empower our community, and that's why I'm also going to make a recommendation for a parent inclusion committee of what we used to have, so parents, you have a place to come and to hear information that is about your children and all of our children. And then I just want to comment on some remarks that was made. I do have thick skin, so I'm here for the duration. But my son is in the Newark Public District like so many of your children, and that is my priority along with all of the other students, and my focus will be on the education of all of our children. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Gaddy. Other board members?
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry.
So, just relatively quickly to...
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Jackson.
Oh, I apologize. Okay. So, just to echo Ms. Gaddy's comments, the district has known about this issue for quite some time. In fact, as a student, I brought up the issue about the drinking water. And unfortunately, years of ignoring the problem have led us to this issue where we're at now. The repair that is needed to not only Wilson Avenue School, but to almost every school here in Newark is going to be at least $1 billion to address the issue. And this is going to be an ongoing process that is going to take quite some time. If I can suggest that the district not only look at ways to financially fund this project through our budget, but with the help of grants and or the help from the federal government to fix this issue, it is definitely necessary, particularly in the budget deficit that we're in. I know we don't like to use that word, but it is the reality. Also, to move on really quickly to the State Street School issue and the argument around that, I am 100% in agreement with having a facility to preserve our rich history in this city. As we know, Newark is a historic city, and we go back hundreds and hundreds of years of great accomplishments that have definitely built America to be what it is today. However, again, the district is unfortunately not in the best financial shape it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. And if persons who were in charge financially then would have taken the right step, then we might not be this worse off. So I would also ask that with the Historic Preservation Committee, that we also seek private funds and donations to also help to financially fund this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Lewis?
First thing I wanted to, I want to request an update on incidents that was referred to here tonight about fights that's happening at Central and Barringer High School that was mentioned by, I think it was Mr. Brown who mentioned it, and Ms. Holder, about fights that happened throughout the week. Secondly, I want us to talk about this budget that we're supposed to talk about tomorrow. I think that it's time that we be honest and tell the truth about the reason we're at where we're at. I know that certain people are some of our friends up on this stage is the cause of what happened with this budget. But our budget is in a predicament that it's in, not because of the folks that sit on the stage, but because of folks who robbed us and left out this district, robbed us blind. We should not be in the financial crisis that we are in. But we are in a crisis that we're in because of people who is no longer here, who robbed our children blind, who took money from this district. And I'm not going to sit up here no more and be quiet about this situation. People that was responsible, like I'm not going to say no names, the old administration, before Mr. Cerf got here, need to be held accountable. Some of them need to be called out. Some of them need to be facing criminal charges to what they've done to the children of this district. Some people, I mean, it's ridiculous that we're asking the city residents to pay for something they didn't do. The people that are accountable for what happened with the financial situation of this district is no longer here. Cammie Anderson and her cronies that left here and left us bankrupt. And I'm not gonna sit by here and sugarcoat it no more. I'm gonna let it be known that the administration robbed this district. They robbed this district blind because they stripped away people's responsibilities who really knew what they were doing with the budget and gave it to some people who were uncertified, didn't have the credentials, don't know how to dot an I or cross a T, and our district is now suffering. Our classrooms have to suffer, and now they want the entire city of Newark to suffer. So we haven't had an address audit in this district. When I drive past Science Park High School, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, I see them cars coming off at 78, 280, Route 22, and dropping their kids off at Science Park High School, Arts High School, University High School. We need an address audit in this district, and we need it done by an independent person who won't be biased, because we know people know how to get around the system. It's about time we start asking people for their insurance cards. We need to really find out where people live and get our money that we deserve in this district. Also, I want to ask us to look into possibly a lawsuit against SDA, who robbed us blind of $6 million. They were supposed to have schools built in this district that's not been built. Land have been taken over. We supposed to have a new University High School. We supposed to have a new Westside High School. Those schools are not here. We have to take bold decisions on this board in this next year, and I hope that my colleagues are willing to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Yes, Ms. Owens.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to all of the speakers who came out this evening. Having been on the other side and signed up to speak several times, I just appreciate that people come out and voice their concerns. And again, as I said in my speech, that I look forward to working with everyone, and please continue to do that and reach out to me as well. I want to thank in particular the students, especially the youngest students who waited all the way to the end to speak. You were powerful. And I also want to also acknowledge the Wilson Avenue parents, because as a community organizer, I always appreciate an organized force that comes out with a clear message and clear demands. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Any other board members? Yes, Ms. Carter.
So mine is more so of a question. One of the speakers mentioned earlier about the student that's being banned. Today was my first time hearing about that. So my question is, what is the protocol in terms of letting us board members know, as well as I don't think I agree with the community in terms of I don't think we should be banning students. We have sat here for years and let you as a district disrespect us. She didn't threaten anyone. She didn't cause any harm to any of us. So how dare us? What example are we setting for our young people? But again, I didn't get the information. I don't know if the other board members did, but I certainly didn't.
Madam Chair, good evening. With respect to the ban that was issued to one of our students, first and foremost, the district never takes this lightly. We respect to the utmost, not just within the law, but within the policies of NPS, everyone's right to have their freedom of expression. However, that was within the confines of our decorum rules. At each and every meeting, including our business meetings, the rules of decorum are read. Notice is given to everyone. With respect to the unacceptable behavior that's always expressed and explained, the actions that occurred at the meeting in which the incidents that led to the ban letter took place, that those activities were clearly beyond the scope of what would be deemed to be acceptable behavior. It also was done within the practice and policies of the district. There have been other times where we have had to issue such ban letters or letters of discipline with respect to, again, behavior that went further and beyond what is considered to be acceptable. We took every action at the time and place of occurrence to try to correct and stop the activity. That was unsuccessful, and the district does stand behind its action that it took. We also did give notice to all the board members, and I believe that there was...
Not true.
It got copied to the chair.
Not true.
All right. I will...
Went to the board. Yeah, board chair.
I've been corrected that the notice went to the board chair
Also,
with respect to
this-
the actual letter. But also in terms of the very specific action that occurred, the excessive inability for the meeting to continue was based upon, as you may recall, the use of a bullhorn, which always has been prohibited within the space for our meetings. That is it's a piece of equipment that is prohibitive, and the use of it in that within that context has always been unacceptable.
So have we banned a student before?
No, have we banned the specific student or a student?
A student.
Upon information and belief, I don't know if we have. We'd have to check our records. But
So
again, it was
is
within the practice and policies of how the district has operated.
So it is my request, and I don't know if my other board colleagues feel the same, that we lift that ban. She was here voicing her opinion because she felt like the district has disrespected her and her students. We're not giving the students the resources they need in class to learn and to compete with others. So I feel like that ban should be lifted, and we need to respect our students. And sometimes they have to go to drastic measures for their voices to be heard and for us to understand that they're not playing. This is their education at the end of the day, and they take it seriously, and we're here to represent them. And so I ask that this is not setting a great example for our young people, and we lift that ban immediately.
So I am happy to follow the lead of the board, but I do want to be heard on this, okay?
Well, I'm sorry, excuse me, Superintendent, do you wish to make a motion, Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Okay.
So what's the motion?
Could you just state,
motion is-
simply state the motion, please, so we can record it?
What's her name?
You will, no, you will comment.
Can I have a question? Question of the motion?
I would like to make a motion to lift the ban of, is her name Gabrielle Vera?
Is it second?
Second.
I have a
Discussion
question
on the motion?
Yes, I just want clarification. I mean, as a new board member, I mean, it seems like miscommunication is going on. Some board members know what's going on, some people don't.
So if I may, we just found out about this evening. We all heard it actually at the same time that you did, and I'm sure, you know, perhaps legal or someone from the district, the superintendent wants to speak, can clarify it. My understanding is that it was the student who came into the meeting basically with the bullhorn, spoke into the bullhorn, and that particular action delayed the continuation of the meeting for a certain period of time. I believe that is what is involved.
And she was escorted out once, and then she came back. I'm just.
I don't know the details. So I think that if someone from the district could really, the motion is on the floor, the motion has been seconded, discussion on the motion. I know the superintendent wants to speak, and if anyone else could help clarify this for us.
Thank you. So I want to start by noting that for many years I practiced constitutional law, including First Amendment law, and I'd like to make something very, very, very clear. This is a democratic institution where there are rules of decorum. We are setting a model for the citizens of this city and for the children of this city. And when people come to a meeting with a megaphone and a bullhorn, and they stand up and they interrupt the right of members of the audience to hear the business of the meeting, and when they don't take advantage of the rules that give every citizen, where it is now 9:45, the opportunity to speak and be heard. You cannot shout fire in a crowded theater. You cannot release the departure time of a ship in time of war. There are something called time, place, and manner restrictions. It is entirely legal, entirely consistent with the First Amendment, and entirely consistent with democratic principles for this meeting to be conducted in an orderly and appropriate fashion. And this administration is firmly of the belief that when people interrupt the democratic process through acts of public theater, that is not something that is worthy of protection. Indeed, it is the people who want to hear this board conduct its business that have a right to speak that is superior to that of someone who would interrupt that. That is our view. If there was a miscommunication, and by the way, this is the second time this has happened by the same group, we've had the stage rushed, we've had people run up to the stage and put signs up. We have not conducted this in a way that sets a model for how the public business is conducted, and it is time that that stops. And that is my strong view.
I'm sorry. So is there someone who could basically answer Ms. Gaddy's question as to what exactly happened, what happened in the incident for which the student was banned?
Sure. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, members of the audience. At our, it's so long ago now, I think our last board meeting, everybody was present, and we had a disruption that began in the audience with students. That disruption went on probably for 15, maybe 20 minutes. It was amplified by the use of a bullhorn by the particular individual. The students were approached. They were asked to cease and desist by both security as well as other adults. This did not happen, and this demonstration went on for 20 minutes with the bullhorn. As the superintendent has indicated, we have had other instances where meetings have been totally disrupted, and we have had discussions regarding decorum. We've made sure that our decorum information is shared at every public meeting. The behavior was unacceptable, and yes, in a democratic society, people have the ability to demonstrate, they have the ability to protest. But when you are asked to no longer disrupt a public meeting and you ignore that request, then do we live or let our meetings denigrate into some type of chaos and unmanageable activity?
So, is there any other board member that would like to speak?
I would like to. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Selinger.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, may I say my question,
Mr.
please?
Selinger, you do have the floor.
The question then comes down. When the charter school and the public schools were arguing real crazy, how come no one got banned out of there? I'm just, you know, and that got a little crazy, which held up about a half hour.
I agree with that. I found that an extremely regrettable exchange for many, many, many reasons, including that people are missing the point about why we are here, which is to make sure that every child gets a successfully educated in a free public school. But you know, there is line drawing in this, right? And I would say that when someone brings a piece of amplification equipment and has been asked not to do that, that line has been crossed. So that's my best answer, sir.
May I ask, what do you mean when you say has been asked not to do that? There was more than one incident? I'm not clear.
We have had
of this particular student. You said when.
Not this particular student, the same group.
I think that while I understand you feel like it was a disruption, I think that this can be a moment where the students can learn from and we can teach them something from this. I don't get what this student or the students is getting out of banning this particular student. Again, to Phil Selinger, we've had adults in here cussing, going back and forth. What example are they setting for the young people that are here? And not once have we banned any of those members, from the public school parents to the charter school parents from here. And how dare us ban a student from a meeting that is about their education?
Well, Ms. Carter, let me correct the record, because at that meeting, an adult did curse, and that individual also received a warning letter.
That individual is banned?
So I don't run these meetings. They're not my meeting to run. Activity among the audience is something that, the president and this board can make whatever calls they need to make. But when a individual brings an amplification agreement, and if you reverse this, by the way, in the end, it's a decision I think we all have a hand in. But you will be inviting that to happen over and over and over again. I taught high school for 4 years, and I will tell you that it is not inappropriate to gently advise a student that the conduct is not appropriate, to gently warn, and then when that is completely disregarded, right, to take appropriate action. This student is more than welcome to come back to the meeting in the future. We needed to send a message.
Vice Chair Fonseca?
With all due respect to everyone, and I will be brief, but I'm going to speak as a parent right now. And if this happened to my child, I'll be the first one up in this meeting. And I do want to say that, while we didn't have all the details, and I get that there was miscommunication, I do respect what you're saying about there being structure, because I do believe that with structure there are great results. But I also believe that as a parent, and anyone who's an educator at this table, I am not, but I am a mom, so I know we teach our children things. I believe that it was our duty to extend, of course, it was disruptive, I get that, but it was our duty, instead of just banning the child from attending the meetings, we should have met with this student or had someone from the school, we know where these kids go to school, have someone pull them aside and teach them, explain to them, this is why this was not acceptable. But banning them kind of just shuts them out. And I agree, it becomes contagious, then the other kids think they can do it. I get it, I got 4 daughters, I know, believe me, I know how it goes. But I do believe that in this day and age, and what's happening in our city and the transition that we're going through and the major issues that our schools are facing, we need to dedicate a little bit more attention to these kids when they come out here to take out of their time. They're not in the streets. They're actually standing here voicing what's right for all their peers. And I think that had I known about this in advance, I definitely would have said something. And again, I agree with the structure. I get it. I agree with you guys on that. But I just think that we need to be a little bit more delicate with our students when they come here. They're in their right to say what they have to say. We just need to teach them how to approach it, because then when they want to speak at another point in their life, they're going to feel rejected because they were kicked out of their own city, their own district, because they were trying to voice the correct thing. So I'm just asking that at a later time, when a situation like this arises again, we just take that into consideration when addressing our students.
So I think that's very sensible advice, but I do want to add one fact here. I will be happy to forward you a letter from the Newark Student Union in which I repeatedly invited them to meet with me privately, to air their concerns, to have me share mine, and they have written back and said they have absolutely no interest in meeting. So I'm a little bit at the end of my rope on that, but let me suggest that we get ourselves out of this box by I don't know if I'm even allowed to make
Madam Chair, can
I'm sorry, there are other board members.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, were you finished with your statement, or were you in the middle of a sentence?
No, thank you, Conley.
Okay.
Madam
Mr.
Chair, just
Jackson.
really quickly, if we can also think about the fact that we are asking for local control and we have to keep a governance aspect. just a suggestion, if we can refer this issue to our legal committee so that it can be table the motion and view this issue through our legal committee so it could properly be vetted and come back for another meeting, if not at the business meeting, at least the next public meeting.
Right, so I thank you for your comment. Right now, I wanted to make a comment, and then there's a motion on the floor. The only way the motion would be removed from the floor is if the maker of the motion would decide to withdraw the motion. And if there's no other board member, is there any other board member who wanted to speak before I do on this? Okay, so I just think that we have to be very, very careful in the way that we think about and the way that we deal with our students. And one thing that I remember very much about one of our past superintendents, Dr. Bolden, and I heard her say that one of her proudest moments was when she saw students from Newark in the street involved in a walkout for their school. And I think that, we have to understand what these students are fighting for and why, and not treat them in a punitive way. They are young people. They can be communicated with, and I think that that is the most important thing. If it doesn't work the first time, then I think it's still important to continue to communicate with them. The other thing, I think, in terms of when you're dealing with students, to me, I think that the punitive aspect should kick in if there is an action that puts people or property in danger. A civil action that simply inconveniences us for a while, to me, is something that calls for some communication, but not punitive action. And I also would ask Superintendent in the future, yes, sir, as has happened in the past with the past superintendent, when there was an action taken banning or either banning or warning a community person about that it was not an action taken solely by the superintendent, but it was an action that was discussed with the board chair, vice chair.
So I think that's reasonable. We thought we had done that, and apparently the chain of communication broke down here, but you have my assurance that those discussions will take place in the event this happens before. I do want to, I'm not in a position, of course, to make a motion. I understand
there's a motion on the floor.
The rules of order, but I do want to suggest, if I might, just put into the conversation, we would be happy to, on our own, immediately let it be clear that this student is welcome back at the meeting, provided that she does not bring a megaphone, an amplification device into the meeting, and to make clear that that kind of behavior will not be tolerated, and if it happens again, will be the basis for appropriate action. But if the issue is this particular student, on this particular occasion, we hear you loud and clear. We are happy to make that adjustment.
So there's a question on the floor. It's been seconded. So to the maker of the motion, are you willing to withdraw the motion at this point based on what the superintendent is saying?
No, I'd just like to have it on record so we can vote on it. It's the same thing he's saying, to lift the ban.
I think the superintendent articulated a couple of other conditions. Would you?
Provided that she shows up without the megaphone.
Yeah. Yes, or other like disruptive
That's fine.
behavior.
I'm sorry. No, wait a minute. We're putting a lot in there. So you're saying without the microphone and without what else? Because what we're doing now, we're modifying this motion. So, no, I just want to be clear. Are you saying if this student participates in any sort of civil disobedience, that then there would be punitive, because we're not being clear and we need to?
Well, if I may, Madam Chair, what the district is really stating is that the rules of decorum have to be maintained. And we've alluded to, as the superintendent has, that any type of instrument that is used to disrupt that would be considered prohibitive.
So we're talking about the megaphone or the instrument. We're not talking about a person who is simply participating in a civil disobedience, because that would be a larger number of people. So I want to be clear on exactly what we're saying in this particular case, because we're talking about the banned student.
That is correct. We're talking about the instant matter and the specific facts underlying this particular incident.
So I'm asking the maker of the motion, are you willing to incorporate that?
I'm willing to
language
incorporate as
into-
long as she does not show up with the megaphone. And that is it.
Thank you.
Okay, so the motion pending on the floor, moved by Ms. Carter, second by Vice Chair Fonseca, is a motion to lift the ban on this student, provided the student does not, again, return with the megaphone. Okay? Board members vote. Roll call, Ms. Carter.
Yes.
Vice Chair Fonseca.
Yes.
Ms. Gaddy.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Ms. Owens.
Yes.
Mr. Padilla.
Yes.
Mr. Sellinger.
Yes.
Chair Basketball Richardson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The hour is late. I had a couple of things. I'm going to say them very quickly. First of all, I want to speak to the issue of State Street, the maintenance of the archives for the city of Newark. Newark is, we're a city, but we're really like a small town in a sense. We love our schools. We love everything about our schools. We love our open schools. We love our closed schools. There's a lot of history here, and I applaud the people who are preserving that history, from Dr. Bolden to Pat Restaino, the late Pat Restaino, who was my first principal. And I think it's very important that the board engage in further conversation, that the superintendent and the mayor engage in conversation very soon to see what the resolution can be. I know it's possible to pull that building back off of the list and possibly make some monies available for the restoration. So I just want to say that I'm going to, Superintendent, hopefully, engage in some conversations to make that happen. But I just want the people who are here for that purpose to know that you have been heard. The other issue, very quickly, it was one speaker talked about the outreach for the community schools. I think that outreach 100% can and must be improved. This is the first year. We know that this effort was done very quickly, but I think we've got to maximize the way that we market these schools, and in the future that is something that has to improve. And lastly, even though we have the budget hearing tomorrow, I think that this issue cannot be ignored even today, because the burden, and what I've heard everyone say, is that the burdens of the actions of the past superintendent, Cammie Anderson, that now the Newark homeowners are getting ready to bear that burden on our backs. And that is what is wrong, because this is not a burden of our making. This was not a burden that existed before Superintendent Anderson was here. Yet once that tax is levied against us, it doesn't go away, it doesn't go down, and that is, I think, a concern of the board members, of all the people I've been hearing from, in the last couple of days. So, I just want to say, I think that there has to be some conversation, there has to be some discussion of some other resolution, and I don't want to wait till tomorrow to say that.
Well, since we don't want the evening to pass, if we're going to talk about the budget, I look forward to a lively conversation tomorrow. I do want to say a couple of things that are just flatly untrue that have been said tonight. One by Mr. Abigon. We got 27 million additional dollars in this district, more than any other district in the 565 districts in the state. It is not true that simply paid for the expansion of charter schools. That's simply flatly not true. More than half of that went directly into the traditional public schools. I am as big an advocate as anybody of history. I was an AP US history and government history teacher. I am an amateur historian. I deeply believe in historical preservation. The full story about the State Street building has simply not been told. So people want lead abatement, people want to fix broken roofs, people want lots of things, but they also want resources to do that. We're going to have to pick and choose what our priorities are. I have written Dr. Bolden, and I have not gotten a response. And I have said, we are happy to preserve this building if you're able to secure the philanthropic funds to preserve it. For some reason, no one ever mentions that. We have made that absolutely abundantly clear. We have a $14 million bond. I was looking today at a list that has about $20 million worth of physical needs in the schools. That's before we even get to lead abatement. So I look forward to having that conversation as well. I will tell you that on this tax issue, anyone who says it is not correct that the district has, quote, been robbed blind over the years, it's flatly not true. The deficit was caused by significant structural issues. I'll give you one example. The gap between what we spend on special education in this city every year and the resources we are sent for it is a $66 million shortfall. The population, the total number of students, contrary to someone else's statement today, Mr. Rowe's statement, the population of Newark is in fact increasing, as is the total student census. When we have been flat funded for years, that is a structural deficit. We have seen the per pupil dollars go down every year. That's not robbery, that's a structural deficit. The mayor found a $93 million structural deficit when he came into office, and nobody's blaming the city council for that. That was just something that is the nature of government. So we will have a lively discussion about this, but I want to make sure that every time somebody says something that is inaccurate, that we don't let myths get perpetuated as we move into the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. And, we can't belabor this, this evening. We will have full discussion tomorrow, but I think that the points that have been made by a lot of people basically deal with the fact that we've had some imposed structural deficits, and that is the problem, that we have a deficit that we would not have had not certain programs and certain practices been put into place. But of course, tomorrow is a budget hearing, and we encourage everyone to come out tomorrow. Science High School at 6 p.m. on the 27th of April. Thank you. Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, second by Salinger. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good night.
Good night all. Thank you. Good night, Tony.
Good night.